Chapter 1905. Tang Indo was also furious. Although he liked to make money, he still loved his daughter. He understood Tang Chong's character. Even if he was at home, he might not be able to stop her. He already knew that Su Machin was not a simple businessman. So he had always been very polite to him. He did not dare to chase him away for as long as he wanted to stay, for fear of getting into trouble. He pretended not to see what Su Machin did. He also knew that Tang Chong liked Su Machin, but he never thought that she would run away with him. He was relieved that Su Machin had left, but he was still worried. He did not know what his daughter was doing now and what she would encounter in the future. He was angry for a few days and sent people to investigate. In the end, there was no result. Tang Indo had no choice but to buy some finished products from the embroidery shop. He guessed that Su Machin's identity was either rich or noble, and he was seriously injured. He had heard some rumors in the capital. So this time, he took this batch of goods to the capital. Such goods were definitely profitable, and at the same time, he could ask about Tang Chong's news. No matter where she went, she should at least leave him a definite message. Tang Indo and his men were pulling the goods when they bumped into a large group of carriages. Those people were all riding horses, and each of them looked extraordinary. At first glance, he knew that they were not simple people. He hurriedly called for the waiter to make way for these people of unknown statuses, who were obviously very honorable at a glance. At this moment, a carriage stopped beside him. The curtain of the carriage was lifted, and an old man who looked a little old but was full of energy asked him with a smile, "May I ask, is this direction to Qingning County?" "Yes, this direction is to Qingning County," Tang Indo said hurriedly, but his legs were trembling. He had seen countless people in his years of traveling outside. There was no lack of officials in the imperial court. Although they were only 5th or 6th rank, they were not small officials. The old man in front of him had a dignified aura around him. It was simply incomparable to all the people he had seen before. Even though he was smiling amiably, that dignified look of his really made him a little scared. Especially when there was a murderous aura around him. It was a contrast to his kind face. He really did not understand what kind of person he was. Tang Indo was afraid of such a person. What kind of person was this? Why would he go to Qingning County? He did not dare to look directly at this person, but he could tell from the situation of the entire convoy that these people were walking at a moderate pace. It was not hard to imagine that going to Qingning County was not something urgent. In other words, it shouldn't bring any danger to their county. The caravan was still pulling a lot of goods, and considering the people in the carriages, could it be that they were going back to retire? Thinking of this, Tang Indo felt more at ease. "Are you the boss of the caravan?" Tang Indo replied, "Yes." "Oh, what are they selling?" Tang Indo didn't dare to not answer. There were some valuable embroidery and ready-made clothes. Was she born from the family Tang embroidery house? Tang Indo raised his head subconsciously. After the initial shock, she felt relieved. Now that the whole world knew about the Tang embroidery manor, it was normal for such a noble person to know about it. The old man smiled. "Are you from the family Tang village?" Tang Indo couldn't help but ask, "How did you know?" X767E, and X9540, and X4E00, and X4E0B, and X201C, quick crossover, female supporting character, calm down, and X722A, and X4E66, and X5C4B, and X201D, and X6700, and X65B0, and X7AE0, and X8282, and X7B2C, and X4E00, and X65F6, and X95F4, and X514D, and X8D39, and X9605, and X8BFB, and X3002, and X3002, peak. Chapter 1906. As we all know, the orders from Tang's embroidery house are fixed. I see that you have a lot of goods here. If you are not from family Tang village, how can you have so many knives? Tang Indo was still thinking about how to answer, but the old man did not care. He said goodbye to him and the long convoy headed towards Qingning County. Tang Indo looked at the goods in the carriages. There were dozens of carriages. He was more convinced that the old man was going to Qingning County to retire. Qingning County was beautiful and the people lived and worked in peace. The county magistrate was also a good official. It was not strange that a place like Tang's embroidery house would attract such a big shot to retire. A few days later, a long convoy arrived outside family Tang village, attracting the attention of the villagers. At that time, Tang Guo and Tang Bai were at home. Tang Bai was embroidering a handkerchief, and Tang Guo was drawing clothes. Gu Jusi was sitting outside the window, peeling garlic for her. Since they expressed their feelings to each other and got Tang Jindo's approval, Gu Jusi became shameless. Gu Jusi shamelessly came over to freeload every day. He left the buying of ingredients, washing and cutting of vegetables to the butler and Lin Yan. Every time Tang Guo cooked, she would use garlic. Naturally, he was the one who peeled the garlic. Sitting by the window and peeling garlic, he could also talk to Guo, who was inside the window. That was really great. Lin Yan and the butler, who were buying ingredients, met when the owner of the convoy arrived in the city. They came back together. The person who came out of the low-key carriage was the old man Tang Indo met a few days ago. Lin Yan and the butler each carried a basket of vegetables and meat, and the other carried a chicken and a duck in each hand. The scene was so beautiful that the old man could not help but laugh. "What are you doing?" Lin Yan replied coldly, "Master, it's master's orders." Lin Yan said coldly, "Later on, I and the butler will have to clean up these so that Miss Guo, can use them to cook." "Where is little Jiu now?" the old man asked. The butler said with a smile. "He was probably peeling garlic for Guo, First, old master, do you want this old servant to call master out?" "No need. Since little Jiu knows how to peel garlic, you can just take me to see." The old man's eyes were filled with excitement. He had never seen little Nine peel garlic before. If second brother knew about this, he would definitely grumble. Because of his status, he couldn't move, right? This is too interesting. After receiving the old man's instructions, Lin Yan and the butler pinched each other's hands and feet and quietly pushed the door open to let the old man in. As soon as he entered the courtyard, the old man saw the young man leaning against the window. His sleeves were rolled up, and a folding fan was tied to his waist. He held a dagger in one hand and a clove of garlic in the other. Seeing this scene, the old man could not help but laugh out loud. So this was how his little Jiu peeled garlic. When Gu Jusi heard the laughter, she naturally turned around and shouted at the old man, "Big brother, you're here. Here it comes." The old man took large strides and quickly arrived in front of Gu Jusi. "Little Jiu, I gave you this dagger for self-defense. Why did you use it to peel garlic? This dagger has been with me for many years and has never been unsheathed. Now that it finally has a use, Big Brother should feel honored for it. Isn't it an honor to be able to peel garlic for Guo? If there was really blood, Guo would definitely despise it. He could only change it. X767E, and X9540, and X4E00, and X4E0B, and X201C, quick crossover, female supporting character, calm down, and X722A, and X4E66, and X5C4B, and X201D, and X6700, and X65B0, and X7AE0, and X8282, and X7B2C, and X4E00, and X65F6, and X95F4, and X514D, and X8D39, and X9605, and X8BFB, and X3002, and X3002, peak. Chapter 1907. This is my elder brother. Gu Jusi put the dagger and garlic aside. Tang Gua had already brought him some water to wash his hands. At the same time, she asked Tang Bai to invite the old man in. The old man's eyes were also sizing up Tang Gua. Originally, he did not have much hope. The main reason was that his little Jiao liked her and they could not object. It was better than being a monk. Now that he saw the real person, he dispelled all his previous thoughts. A woman who could establish the Tang embroidery shop was indeed not ordinary. Not only was she talented, but she also had good looks. If she dressed up a little and walked out, people would probably think that she was a noble lady from the capital. But he felt that this woman was much better than the noble ladies in the capital. He also had a faint intuition that she was skilled. Her steps were calm, steady, and light. Every step was almost the same. Unless one practiced martial arts for a long time, very few people could do this. He guessed wrong about this. Tang Gua's soul was strong. What she learned was already engraved in her soul. This body did not know martial arts, but as long as she had the heart and practiced a little, she could indeed compete with the martial arts experts in the mortal world. The old man observed Tang Gua for a while and came to a conclusion. This lady's eyes were clear, but he could not see through them at a glance. It could be seen that she was clever and had her own shrewdness. She was not a person who was full of bad intentions. When Tang Gua and Gu Jusi interacted, he also found that this lady always looked at his little Jiao with a smile. There was a faint doting look in her eyes. He almost sprained his waist. So, little Jiao was kidnapped like this. Elder brother, this is Gua. Gu Jusi stood beside Tang Gua and grabbed Tang Gua's hand. I have already promised Gua that I will marry into her family in the future. Elder brother, you and second brother can't object. Actually, it's useless to object. I am informing you of this news. This is also considered a lifelong event. I also want to tell Gua everything about me. The old man was so angry that he laughed. You are acting first and reporting later. What can I and second brother do? Are you really willing to let your younger brother become a monk? Gu Jusi pursed her lips and did not speak. Wasn't it because they always sent him portraits of all kinds of women and annoyed him? Otherwise, who would be willing to become a monk? After knowing Gua he would be a fool to become a monk again. How great would it be to live a prosperous life in the family Tang village with Gua Lin Yan, go wash the vegetables with the housekeeper. Big brother, if there's anything, let's have a meal first. Gu Jusi let go of Tang Gua's hand. Gua I'll go chop some firewood. You can cook later, and I'll start the fire. Old man, could it be that his little brother's body has been taken over by a wandering ghost? But he didn't stop her. It was really rare to see little Nine being so proactive. Little Nine chopping firewood. I've never seen him before. He understood that little Nine was telling him how important this young lady was to the other party, and that he should be careful. Actually, no matter how important proof was, there was no need to chop firewood. After the old man had a delicious lunch, he decided to take back his words. If he could eat such delicious food every meal, and little Nine liked to chop firewood, then he would chop firewood. As the big brother, he had no objections. Wasn't it just chopping firewood? It wasn't a big deal, and it could even strengthen his body. After lunch, the few of them sat down in the house. X767E, and X9540, and X4E00, and X4E0B, and X201C, quick crossover, female supporting character, calm down, and X722A, and X4E66, and X5C4B, and X201D, and X6700, and X65B0, and X7AE0, and X8282, and X7B2C, and X4E00, and X65F6, and X95F4, and X514D, and X8D39, and X9605, and X8BFB, and X3002, and X3002, peak. Chapter 1908. Actually, there was someone in the house who was behaving strangely. Back and forth, he kept his head down and didn't speak much. Who was this person? Who else could it be other than Tang Bai? The moment the old man stepped into the courtyard, Wajiogo was stunned in front of the embroidery rack. She did not know what to do. She had seen this person in her previous life. Even though it was only once, she still remembered him clearly. Compared to when she had just been reborn, she was much calmer now. She was surprised at first, but she chose to remain silent and be invisible. When she heard Gu Jusi call him Big Brother, she guessed Gu Jusi's identity. So the mysterious little prince in her previous life was Gu Jusi. Anyway, she had never seen Gu Jusi before she died. She only heard that Gu Jusi was a restless person who liked to travel. She did not know anything else. Miss Gua you must have guessed that little Joe's identity is not ordinary, right? The old man said with a smile. At the same time, he introduced himself. I am Gu Rongha. Since we will be family in the future, and little Joe is determined to marry into your family, you can call me Big Brother in the future. He was not a scholar. Even though he was in a high position, he did not like to follow any rules in the wilderness. He liked straightforward things and straightforward people. He didn't like to beat around the bush like the people in the imperial court. Tangua nodded. I guessed a little. The system was a bad woman. She had guessed Gu Jusi's identity the moment she knew his name. What did she mean by guessing a little? Hypocritical. Gu is the surname of the Yu Kingdom, Gu Rongha said. The current emperor is my second brother. Little Jiao is our younger brother. We are blood brothers. Little Jiao was born last. There is a big age gap between us. Actually, he is not that old. He is not even 30 years old. Gu Jusi added. The reason why my big brother looks so old is because the Yu Kingdom was not peaceful many years ago. In order to stabilize the borders and prevent other countries from invading, he started fighting when he was a teenager. He often lived in the wilderness. The conditions were very difficult. He was often injured and his body was damaged. That is why his hair is white and he looks like an old man in his 60s. If it weren't for those things, Big Brother would look younger, Gu Jusi added. The person he respected the most in his heart was his big brother. It could be said that the current stability of the Yu nation was all thanks to his big brother. When his mother was pregnant with his second brother, she was framed and poisoned, so her health wasn't good. There was no way for him to participate in these things. He could only do things that used his brain. On the other hand, he was much luckier. Although Imperial Father passed away when Imperial Mother was pregnant with him, with eldest brother and second brother holding the fort, there was no miscarriage and second brother successfully ascended the throne. He was bestowed the title of king when he was born and lived the best life. No other prince lived a better life than him. Big brother and second brother had suffered all the hardships. They didn't want him to suffer, so it was inevitable that they would spoil him a little more. Big brother, don't worry. When Nine comes to my house in the future, I will treat him well. I won't bully him. Tangua said. Gu Rongha felt that she shouldn't have said that. Gu Jusi's ears turned red. Big brother, did you hear that? Gua treats me very well. I heard that big brother has internal injuries. I accidentally found a set of medical books here. It's a pity that I don't study medicine and don't understand the profoundness of it. There are many medical books in a thick wooden box. Big brother's status is not ordinary. There are many capable people under him. Maybe they can research something. Tangua turned around and carried out a wooden box. She had already thought about it. Gu Rongha and the current emperor had to live well. They definitely couldn't die early because of physical injuries. If they took the medical books here to research, they would definitely be able to extend their lives and treat internal injuries. Even if they were poisoned in the womb, they would be able to treat it. She wanted Sumachan's people to wait until the flowers wilted. She wanted the emperor and Gu Rongha to still be in high spirits, as if they could live for another 100 years. Just thinking about it made her a little excited. The system was bad. However, Gu Jusi should be very happy. The great host probably didn't say that she took out so many books because of Gu Jusi. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1909. Gu Rongha was a little surprised. At first, he did not pay much attention to it. How could he find a medical book in this wilderness? But when Tangua handed him a medical book to read, he took a few glances at it and became serious. It was said that a long illness became a doctor. He could understand medical books. Although he didn't have a deep understanding of it, he could still distinguish between a good medical book and a fake one. Big brother, these medical books fell into my hands by accident. They are useless. You should be able to use them. A Jew came to my house. I can't just do nothing. Gu Jusi was a little embarrassed. But the way Gua looked at him made him very happy. Although many men couldn't accept being loved and spoiled by a woman in such an obvious way, many men couldn't accept it. But he did not care. He wanted Gua to only have eyes for him and think of him. The most beautiful smile belonged to him. A man needed to prove his ability. He did not need to be strong in every aspect and suppress a woman. He did not think that he was weak. He just liked the feeling of admitting defeat in front of Gua. If Gua needed it, he could instantly stand in front of her and block some of the thorns for her, protecting her from harm. He could also help Gua do many things, such as peeling garlic, chopping firewood, and drawing clothes that men liked. In any case, he could do whatever Gua needed. Gu Jusi saw Gu Rongha looking at the medical book with a serious face. He was a little happy. Since his big brother was so serious, the medical book must be useful. He saw some joy in his big brother's eyes. It meant that it was useful. Because his big brother joined the war when he was a teenager, he lived in the open and was exposed to the sun and rain. There were countless internal injuries on his body. Now, he was only in his 40s and looked like a white-haired old man. The imperial doctor said that he could live to 50 at most. It was already a long life. As for his second brother, he was poisoned in the womb and his body was weak. He was only 3 years younger than his big brother. He was in his early 40s and his body was getting worse day by day. The imperial doctor said that he could not live to 50. He had traveled to many places and found countless traveling doctors, but they could not do anything. His big brother and second brother told him not to worry. This was life. They would protect Yu country until they died. As for who the next Yu kingdom would be handed over to, it would depend on the abilities of the people under him. But they would leave him a way out and ensure that he would not be harmed. The two of them did not wish to restrain Gu Jusi, who did not like these kinds of battles. After all, Gu Jusi did not like these battles. He liked mountains and rivers, good food, and quiet places, so they tried their best to satisfy his wishes. After wandering around for so many years, Gu Jusi finally stopped at Family Tang village for some reason. Originally, he had planned to leave one day. Later, when he accidentally heard that Tang Guo was going to do a big business to buy Luo Kun, he really stopped. "Brother, are medical books useful?" Of course, he was happy that big brother and second brother could live longer. "It's useful. I'll get someone to send it back as soon as possible for your second brother's imperial physicians to take a look." Gu Ronghe quickly flipped through several books. He could not hide the excitement in his heart. Not only were there books for internal injuries, but there were also books for nursing the body. Even if it was poison in the fetus, there were also ways to cure it. There was also a book for prolonging one's life. There was even a book for nursing the body. Gu Ronghe borrowed the book from Tang Guo's desk and copied it down. "Quick, female supporting character, calm down, want to chat with more like-minded people, quick, female supporting character, calm down. Look, talk about life, find confidence." Chapter 1910. Gu Ronghe was shocked. He did not think about why Tang Guo gave him these things. Whether she did it intentionally or not, it was good for him. Besides, they were a family now. This was enough to prove that she really liked his little Joe. Little Joe was indeed his brother. He had good taste. Tang Bai was depressed. When did she get the medical book? Sure enough, she did not know her sister well. Gu Ronghe had already memorized the book after copying it. He put the book he copied in a wooden box and planned to ask his confidant to send it back to the palace for the emperor to practice. As for the original book, he handed it to Tang Guo and said, "This is a good martial art that can prolong your life. Although you won't become a martial arts master after practicing it, it has a very good effect on your body. Both men and women can practice it. So it's a martial arts book." Tang Guo pretended to be surprised and put it away. "Thank you for your reminder, big brother." Tang Guo took the book and put it in a box. "I'll ask my father and brothers to practice it someday." She looked at Tang Bai. "Oh, Bai, you have to practice it too." Tang Bai nodded quickly. "Okay." Although she would not become a master of martial arts, Tang Bai was willing to suffer as long as she could become stronger. Gu Ronghe looked at Tang Guo's agile steps and remembered her surprised look just now. She was so good at acting. He really could not tell whether she was acting deliberately or she did not know that she had exposed herself. He did not think at all and concluded that she was acting deliberately. Why was it so easy for her to expose her differences? Gu Ronghe pondered. There were two reasons. First, she was a fool. Second, she was a master of martial arts who was not afraid of anything. She did not care what it would do to her if she exposed herself. In his heart, Tang Guo was the second kind of person. If it was his second brother, he would be worried about this matter again. If he did not know who Tang Guo was, he would not be able to sleep and eat well. He must find out the truth. He was different. No matter who she was, his little Joe was going to marry into her family. He believed in his own eyes. This woman was true to his little Joe. Even taking out those medical books, he suspected that the other party knew something and had prepared them in advance. Otherwise, how could it be so suitable, and what they took out was exactly what they needed? When Gu Ronghe arrived at Family Tang village, he saw that the people here were simple and honest. Everyone who came and went had plain smiles on their faces. The villagers knew that he was Gu Jusi's elder brother, so he came here to deliver things and discuss with Tang Jindo about Gu Jusi marrying into the family. The majestic aura he exuded was indeed a little frightening. However, after talking to him, he felt that the other party was approachable and was quite forthright. He was very liked by the villagers. This was especially so after knowing that the other party had brought dozens of carts of goods over. This was enough to show that the other party took this matter very seriously. Gu Rongha walked around the village with his men. He pondered for a while and felt that the family Tang house and Gu Juxi's house were too small. He planned to talk to Tang Jindo about building a house. Tang Jindo also knew about Gu Juxi's real identity. He was almost scared to death. At first, he thought that it was a rich young master from the capital. He did not expect it to be the mysterious little prince. At first, he wondered why the name Gu Rongha sounded so familiar. Later, he remembered that it was the warlord of the Yu Kingdom. Hurry up and we're the second female lead, calm down. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, hurry up and we're the second female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1911. At that time, Tang Jindo was so excited that he wanted to kneel down. The warlord. A few decades ago, the Yu Kingdom was in turmoil. If not for the warlord, how could ordinary people like them live such a good life? His Guo was really capable. She actually let the warlord's younger brother marry into their family. More importantly, the warlord was not angry. He even agreed. Building a house was a piece of cake. That was his family's job. He did not expect Gu Rongha to find so many people to help build the house. The furnishings in the house, some objects, and all the materials needed to build the house were all prepared by someone. With Gu Rongha's help, they could build whatever they wanted to build and how high they wanted to build the house. After all, this was where the little prince would live in the future. Who would dare to say that they did not follow the rules? Tang Guo gave the book to the whole family to practice. Everyone had to live for a long, long time. She even calculated how long she could live in this world. The family Tang incident happened when the original owner was 15 years old. When she met Tang Bai again, she was 30 years old. She spent 15 years trying to take revenge, but in the end, she died without success. Therefore, the original owner was 45 years old when she died. In addition, the host could live for another 20 years in this world. She could live to 65 years old. Tang Guo smiled and said, "That's enough." 65 years old. In ancient times, the average age was 45 years old. It's considered a long life. Gu Rongha seemed to want to build his home here. The huge and luxurious house took half a year to build. The villagers of the family Tang village were not fools. They even saw the county magistrate come. They knew that Gu Juxi's family was not simple. The person who Gu Juxi called Big Brother and the housekeeper called Master was not a simple person. The old man who had some experience felt that Gu Rongha must have killed many people. His murderous aura could not be completely hidden even if he tried to hide it. However, he was full of righteousness and was polite to them. He was obviously not a bad person. In less than 3 months, the imperial physicians were able to come up with a conclusion after studying the medical books. Currently, they were busy helping the emperor and Gu Rongha recuperate. After a few months, both of their bodies had improved. Coupled with the life-prolonging cultivation technique, both of them were a head younger. The white-haired Gu Rongha had black hair on his scalp. Gu Juxi was very happy when he heard about this. Once, when he went to the stream with Tang Guo, he could not control himself and hugged Tang Guo's waist. He said that he was really happy and grateful to her. Tang Guo said in a joking tone, "Joe, when are you going to marry me?" Gu Juxi was a little embarrassed at that time. Although she looked calm, her ears were so red that they were almost transparent. Joe, I've helped me, Gu Joe, big brother, she said, your big brother, she said, your big brother. Then, don't you think you should repay me with your body? After being asked twice, Gu Jusi finally said, I'll marry you whenever you want, Gua. He was used to being shameless. In front of the girl he liked, being shameless was nothing. He hugged Tangua's waist and said softly, Joe, your ears are so red. Are you shy? Gu Jusi said seriously, Gua, you're wrong. I'm just excited. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 19:12. I see people blushing when they're excited. Joe, you're so weird. Only your ears turn red when you're excited. Gu Jusi held Tangua's hand. He knew that she was teasing him, but he was still happy. I'm different from those people. Let's get married. The house has been built. I can't wait to marry into your family. Now, everyone knows that I, Gu Jusi, am going to marry into Guo's family. Now that everything is ready, we must hold a lively wedding, right? System, Gu Jusi, you're shameless. Okay. Gu Jusi was so happy that he almost went crazy when he heard Tangua agree. He bent down and carried Tangua on his back. Then, he ran quickly in the mountains. He was good at martial arts. When he ran, there was wind behind him. His feet touched the ground lightly as if he was flying. Gu Jusi decided that after they got married, he would run in the mountains with Guo on his back if he had time. It was a very happy thing. Little Joe. Gu Ronghe, the butler, and Lin Yen stood somewhere and watched Gu Jusi run happily with Tangua on his back. They couldn't help but laugh. He was so quiet when he was young. Everything he did was serious. It's rare to see him smile. I didn't expect him to be so lively one day. The butler shook his head helplessly. Wasn't he so happy that he was going to marry a wife? Ever since he met Miss Guo, his master had not been normal for a day. Lin Yan didn't understand what was the point of running in the mountains with a girl on his back. It was more interesting to practice swordsmanship in the mountains. First master, good news is coming, the butler said. Gu Ronghe nodded. It's a pity that second master can't come. When little Jiao and I confirm it, I'll report this matter and give second master some good things to make him happy. Gu Ronghe was full of smiles when he talked about the current situation. Second master's sons, the officials in the capital, and those young masters all think that second master and I won't live long. They're making a fuss. If they know that second master and I might live longer than they think, I wonder what their expressions will be. The butler smiled and said, that depends on who can hold it in and who can't. Gu Ronghe nodded. That's right. If you can't hold it in, you'll rebel. Those who rebel won't stand a chance. If he could endure it, then there was a chance of success. It all depended on who was more favored by second brother. Sitting in that position, they didn't need to be soft-hearted and merciful. The ruler of Yu country had to be someone who could control the overall situation, understand the current situation, be able to endure and be ruthless, and also be tolerant. He couldn't be too cruel, but he couldn't be too merciful either. Previously, due to the influence of second brother and his health, they were eager to choose a satisfactory candidate. Now, according to the current prescription, he and second brother could live for another 40 years without a problem. It was really possible for them to live to 100 years old. Then he would take his time to pick. Second brother's current son was not good enough, so he would have to work harder and have more children. In the end, he would be able to pick out the best successor. Tangua and Gu Jusi were finally married. Gu Jusi also married into Tang Guo's family in front of the entire village. Tang Bai stood at the side and silently looked at Gu Jusi, who was grinning from ear to ear. Then, she looked at her sister's happy smile and couldn't help but laugh. Hurry up and we're the second female lead, calm down. Want to talk with more like-minded people, hurry up and we're the second female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1913. She had sewn her sister's dowry stitch by stitch. The patterns on it had also been embroidered by her. Although she could not compare to her sister's skills, she had brought out the highest level of her life. She might not be able to make a second set of such wedding clothes in her life. At this moment, Tang Bai did not reject Gu Jusi at all. Prince Xiaoyao, who had been playing with the mountains and rivers, was willing to marry into her sister's family. He was so sincere. What reason did she have to dislike him? The royal family had really given her sister enough face. The warlord had personally presided over the wedding. Today, he had even issued a secret edict to grant the marriage. He had also given the Tang embroidery shop a plaque with the words, "Number 1 embroidery shop in Yu country." Today, he had even given Qingning County to Gu Jusi. What was this? This was a huge face. In the future, this place would be her sister and Gu Jusi's territory. They could do whatever they wanted. She had heard her sister mention that today, she had also been given a gold medal. This thing was not only a gold medal to avoid death, but also a gold medal to not kneel before anyone. Of course, she knew that this gold medal was not only because of Gu Jusi. It was most likely related to the medical books in the box. In any case, she did not have to worry about the safety of family Tang village and her family now. This was her brother-in-law and sister's place. They could also openly raise more experts. However, there was still a knot in her heart that could not be untied when it came to Su Machin. After the marriage, Gu Jusi would be the son-in-law of the family Tang village. What made Gu Jusi satisfied was that his sister-in-law, Tang Bai, who did not like him, was finally willing to call him brother-in-law. There was no hostility from before. Life in the family Tang village did not change much. But for Gu Jusi, it changed a lot. At night, he could fall asleep with a fragrant girl in his arms. When he woke up and opened his eyes, the person lying in his arms was still his fragrant wife. Listening to the cicadas outside the window, he looked at the girl sleeping soundly in his arms. He felt that his life was really like that of a god. The flaw in his heart had already been mended. It turned out that the girl in his arms was the missing part of his heart. Adieu. Tang Guo opened her eyes and saw Gu Jusi staring at her, so she called out. Gu Jusi quickly responded and kissed her on the forehead. Guo, are you awake? Yes. Do you want to get up? Tang Guo looked out of the window. The sun is out. Let's get up. Gu Jusi let go of Tang Guo and hurriedly went down. She pulled Tang Guo up and picked up the clothes next to her. With a smile, she said, "Wife, let me help you dress, okay? Come." Tang Guo stood up with him and stood in front of him, spreading her arms. Gu Jusi personally helped Tang Guo put on her clothes. Tang Guo's current clothes were all made of silk. In any case, she could sit down and count the money now. After putting on her clothes, Gu Jusi asked her to sit down and put on her shoes and socks. Adieu, why are you staring at my feet? Guo's feet are so beautiful. They are exquisite and small, as white as jade. Her 10 fingers are so obedient. The system hid it. It was simply unbearable. Let's not talk about this. Hurry up and put on your clothes. You still have to put on rouge. Oh right, the family Tang village was also making rouge and face powder. The person who took charge of this matter was naturally Tang Guo. Hurry up and put on your clothes. Calm down. You want to talk to more like-minded people. Hurry up and put on your clothes. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1914. However, the people who worked were all villagers. She was still the owner of the cattle. There was no need to limit the amount of consumables like rouge and face powder. Nowadays, all the caravans in your country liked to come to Family Tang village to buy goods. Whoever arrived first could get the goods. The rouge and face powder did not accept pre-orders. When Tang Guo sat in front of the bronze mirror and combed her hair, Gu Jusi hurriedly dressed himself in the blink of an eye. He turned around and wanted to snatch the wooden comb from Tang Guo's hand to comb her hair. Tang Guo turned around and saw that his belt was tied crookedly. She could not help but laugh. She put down the wooden comb and stood up to tie his belt for him. Gu Jusi smiled foolishly, revealing a row of neat and white teeth. When Tang Guo was tying his belt for him, he put his hand behind her head and picked up the wooden comb to comb her hair. Guo, sit down. I'll comb your hair for you. After saying that, he added, when you're done, you can comb my hair for me. Ah, Joe, when I saw you last time, you were a cold and aloof young master, Tang Guo said with a smile. I realize that I've been deceived. You're so thick-skinned. In front of Guo, I have to be true to myself. Guo also said that when we met last time, we didn't seem to be familiar with each other. In front of strangers, I have to pretend to be cold and aloof. After I met Guo, I became true to myself. System, so this is the reason why you're so shameless in front of the great host. What a good excuse. In front of the great host, I have to be true to myself. It's too realistic. The system really wanted to get out and pretend that it did not exist. For the past 2 days, it had been eating dog food. It really felt suffocating. Based on the way the two of them interacted, it suspected that it would be tormented like this every day in this world. The two of them finally finished being lovey-dovey and walked out of the house together. After a while, the two of them saw Tang Bai, who was practicing martial arts with Lin Yan in the courtyard. That's right. Tang Bai had started practicing martial arts. Not only did she practice martial arts, but Tang Guo also hired many teachers to teach her all kinds of things. Tang Bai was happy. This was exactly what she was worried about. Now that she had her teacher's guidance, she could slowly reveal what she had once known. She did not intend to reveal her identity as a reincarnator. If it was exposed, it would only bring trouble to her family. If someone with ulterior motives found out, it would be troublesome. Thus, she decided to keep this secret for the rest of her life. Previously, after she had practiced the life-prolonging cultivation technique, she had not expected that her sister would propose to have someone teach her martial arts. Her sister said that since she was very timid, she should practice martial arts to strengthen her body and protect herself. When Tang Bai heard this, she almost cried tears of joy. She wanted to learn martial arts. Su Machen's kung fu was not bad. She even had a goal in her heart, which was to surpass Su Machen. If she met Su Machen again in the future, she would not be afraid. Gu Rongha's men were all masters. Tang Guo explained her purpose in coming here. She wanted to choose one to teach Tang Bai martial arts. He asked him who had the best kung fu among them and asked him to be Tang Bai's husband. Gu Rongha said, although these men are all masters, they are not inferior to Lin Yan. That boy is very talented and his kung fu is top-notch. Otherwise, we would not be at ease. Every time little Joe comes, she only takes him and the housekeeper. Thank you, big brother. Then I will ask Lin Yan if he is willing. Gu Ronghe could not help but laugh. Sister-in-law has already asked. Would Lin Yan dare to refuse? In order to be by little Zhou's side, Lin Yan had paid a price. He had beaten up all his fellow martial artists and offended them. Just like that, Lin Yan became Tang Bai's husband to teach her kung fu. Now, Tang Guo and Gu Jusi were holding hands and looking at Lin Yan's stern face as he taught Tang Bai some basic skills. You are really too stupid, Lin Yan said. Tang Bai whispered, I will work hard. Watch how I do it. Lin Yan walked to the side and did a very standard movement. Tang Bai watched carefully. When Lin Yan stood up straight, he asked her if she saw it clearly. She nodded. Yes, I saw it clearly. Then give it a try. Tang Bai hurriedly did as she was told. She was still lacking. Lin Yan frowned. Barely. I can practice more. Lin Yan's brows relaxed. Then let's practice this 200 times today. Tang Bai nodded seriously. Okay. Tang Guo was speechless. Gu Jusi was embarrassed. Hurry up and we're the second female lead. Calm down. Want to talk with more like-minded people? Hurry up and we're the second female lead. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1915. Not long after Tang Guo and Gu Jusi got married, Tang Chongqing became the top scholar. The whole family Tang village was very happy. Tang Chongqing became the top scholar. This made Tang Jindo, who failed the county examination, have no regrets at all. His son did what he failed to do, and it was 100 times better than what he did. Becoming the top scholar was something that brought honor to his ancestors. It was said that many people wanted to win Tang Chongqing over to their side in the capital. Family Tang village was too far away from the capital. The relationship between Tang Guo and Gu Jusi was deliberately hidden by the emperor and Gu Ronghe so that they could live a peaceful life. Therefore, those people did not know that Tang Chongqing could have relied on his connections to make a living. Any one of the people behind him could scare people half to death. Until now, the people in the capital only knew that Tang Chongqing was the third brother of the owner of family Tang village's Tang embroidery shop. Many people knew that Tang Guo was looking for a son-in-law. But they did not know that Tang Guo's husband was the mysterious little prince. Su Machun, on the other hand, knew that when those people tried their best to win over Tang Chongqing, they even used both kindness and authority. His legs and stomach were trembling. As long as Shan Wang was still around, he could not provoke anyone related to the little prince. Even if Shan Wang was no longer around, he would probably leave a backup plan for the little prince. The little prince was still a person who could not be provoked. This Tang Chongqing should be left to others. He could not stand it. Su Machun was not so kind as to tell other competitors not to bully Tang Chongqing. He could not wait for those people to bully Tang Chongqing. When Tang Guo found out, she would definitely not let it go. She would tell the little prince to back her up. Su Machun did not wait for that day. Because not long after, Tang Chongqing was summoned to the palace by the emperor and personally made an official. Not only that, he often called Tang Chongqing over to accompany him. At this moment, everyone understood that Tang Chongqing had become the emperor's favorite and could not be treated the same as before. Chongqing, you have a good sister. Tang Chongqing was neither servile nor overbearing as he replied, Your Majesty, my younger sister has always been doing well. The emperor was amused. All right, I know. None of you siblings are simple. Tang Chongqing thought to himself, It's obviously Your Majesty who thinks too much. Actually, their family was really simple. However, the emperor's heart was hard to fathom. Even though they had a different relationship, Tang Chongqing had never thought of becoming arrogant because he was favored by the emperor. Whatever the emperor wanted him to do, he would do it properly. He didn't become an official for the sake of promotion and wealth. Speaking of wealth, it would be better to help manage the embroidery shop. His family was not short of money. He took the imperial examination for 2 reasons. Firstly, he liked learning and wanted to try the feeling of being in the court. Secondly, he wanted to fulfill Tang Jindo's wish. Now that he had fulfilled both of his wishes, his family did not need him anymore. Moreover, his brother-in-law was the little prince. He still had to work hard as an official. It could also add some weight to his position. If there was any movement in the future, he would be able to know immediately. Before this, he had thought about it. No matter who tried to rope him in, he would not do it. He would listen to the emperor. According to Guo, it would not be a problem for the emperor to live for another 30 or 40 years. When the next emperor ascended the throne, he would be able to retire and return to his hometown. After this day, the emperor also found that no matter what was discussed in the court, Tang Chongqing really dared to say it. Many people opposed his opinion. This Tang Chongqing dared to stand against the opinions of the masses and support him. Quickly were the supporting female lead, calm down. Want to talk with more like-minded people, quickly were the supporting female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1916. If Tang Chongqing did not agree with him, this young man would keep quiet and not say a word. He was not like the other straightforward officials who would embarrass him in the court. After the court session, this lad would sneakily give him a suggestion that he thought was good. He would not point out the mistakes in his method. The emperor liked Tang Chongqing's way of doing things very much. He was the emperor, and he did have a group of straightforward officials under him. But he did not want to face the criticism of a group of straightforward officials every day. People like Tang Chongqing, who secretly gave him suggestions, did not embarrass him, and did not point out his mistakes. He only needed to suggest a better method. As the emperor, he was not a fool. If there was a better method, how could he not use it? After the emperor's observation, he found that Tang Chongqing was different from other officials. This young man was not here for promotion and wealth. Thinking about his sister-in-law, who had so many big businesses, Tang Chongqing did not need to be caught for some small profits. This young man was also generous. Even if he had offended many people, he could usually win over a bunch of friends with a meal, a small gift, some embroidered handkerchiefs, rouge, and face powder from the embroidery shop. This young man was also very calm. Even if he had a good relationship with many people, he would never get too close to them. Seeing this, the emperor was relieved. As the emperor, he subconsciously thought more, even if he knew that Tang Chongqing would not do those things. Gradually, no matter where the emperor went, he liked to take Tang Chongqing with him. At this time, he really trusted Tang Chongqing. At this time, Tang Chongqing also became the emperor's favorite person. Tang Guo knew everything about Tang Chongqing. To be exact, Tang Chongqing even asked her how to get along with the emperor. As for why he asked her, it might be because Tang Chongqing was the smartest person in the Tang family. Not long after Tang Guo got married, Tang Indo came back. It's really a pity that we didn't make it in time for Guo's wedding. Tang Indo had brought a wedding gift for Tang Guo from the capital. Fatigue could be seen on his face. Compared to half a year ago, Tang Indo looked much older. Tang Guo thanked Tang Indo and asked, "Second uncle, have you found Shangcheng?" "Found it." Tang Indo's face was full of helplessness at the mention of Tang Chang. She didn't want to come back with me and insisted on getting involved in such a complicated matter. Tang Jindo couldn't help but ask, "What's going on?" Tang Indo sighed and explained the matter in detail. He also knew Su Machen's identity. Back then, Su Machen left with Tang Chang. Things went smoothly. Soon, he found evidence of him being framed and cleared his name. Not only that, he had also taken his revenge and killed the person who had harmed his sister and mother. However, Su Machen didn't stop, because the real culprit who had caused the death of his mother and sister was a certain prince who wanted to marry her. It would take a long time for him to achieve his true victory. Perhaps only by pushing the person he supported to the throne would he be able to take his revenge. Of course, Tang Indo didn't know this. He only knew that Su Machen was the Marquis's son. Later, the injustice was cleared and the emperor ordered him to inherit the Marquis's family. In order to compensate him, the emperor didn't demote him. Therefore, Su Machen should be the Marquis now. Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. Want to talk with more like-minded people, hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1917. Tang Indo happened to see Tang Chang appear in the mansion once, so he found her and tried to persuade her to go back. Unfortunately, Tang Chang was unwilling and this made Tang Indo very angry. Although Su Machen was polite to him, he did not think that he was a good person. He had traveled extensively and knew many people. He always felt that Tang Chang would not have a good ending with Su Machen. In the end, Su Machen seemed to want to show his love for Tang Chang and bought a shop in a good location in the capital. Did second uncle agree? Tang Gua asked when she heard this. Tang Indo sighed helplessly. I didn't want to agree. Although I love money very much, my life is worth it. His purpose in life was to earn money, and he had always wanted to be rich. But Gua now that you have realized this wish, I am very happy. Chen Qiang is so insensible and I don't know what is wrong with Su Machen. I always feel that he is up to no good. Then second uncle, you have agreed to settle down in the capital. Tang Indo shook his head. Not really. I just want to stay there and watch in case Chang Qiang is taken advantage of. At that time, if something really happens, I can still take her away. In the end, he thought that Su Machen could not give Tang Chang a good future. Earning money was important, but so was his daughter. He could earn money at any time. He only had one daughter. He was a businessman, but he was also a father. The capital is a dangerous place. Second uncle, you must be careful. Tang Gua did not persuade Tang Indo not to go. Tang Chang was his daughter. If he did not stay there to watch over her, she would be anxious all day. When the time came, Tang Chongqing would be enough to watch over Tang Indo. As for Tang Chang, it would depend on her fate. She was the one who wanted to go to the wolf's den. No one could be blamed if anything happened. Tang Indo nodded. I will. Then I may not come back often in the future. I will send someone to get the goods. Tang Indo came back this time partly because of this. Tang Gua nodded. Then second uncle, find a trustworthy person and ask him to come back to get it. All the goods under Tang Gua's name, unless someone came to buy them individually, were distributed and sold by the caravans themselves. Anyway, she wouldn't lose out. She wouldn't lose out no matter what price the other party could sell it for. The higher the price, the more benefits it would bring to her. In this era, there was no lack of fake goods. However, once fakes were exposed, they would be exposed very quickly. Tang Jindo did not try to persuade Tang Indo either. If he was in Tang Indo's position, his choice would be the same as Tang Indo. 3 days later, Tang Indo rushed to the capital with several carts of goods. Tang Gua had never thought of going to the whirlpool in the capital city, or even getting involved in it. With her status, there was no need for that at all. Now that Gu Rongha and Gu Rongha were watching from the sidelines, what was the point of her joining in? Every day, Gu Rongha would chat with them about the funny things that happened in the capital when they had meals. Today and Gu Rongha didn't care about these things at all. As long as those people didn't cause too much of a ruckus, they could do as they pleased. For example, when the Lord Protector's family was framed, the Emperor chose to stand by and let them frame each other. It could be that he wanted to weaken their power. If Su Machin had the evidence, then he could reinstate him as the crown prince and let him inherit the Lord Protector's family. He wouldn't even be demoted. Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1918. After this series of actions, Su Machin would only hate the people who framed the Lord Protector's mansion. He would never blame the Emperor and would even be grateful to the Emperor. If Su Machin could not prove his innocence, he would not be able to prove his innocence. In the face of all the evidence, and he was not important to the Emperor could let Su Machin's opponent have his way and sentence Su Machin to death. This was the Emperor's way of thinking. Su Machin had no idea that he was just a cricket for others to play with. Crickets would only fight with crickets and would never think of fighting with people. Because people could kill a bunch of crickets with one step. Sister-in-law, you have a cousin named Tang Chang, right? Gu Rongha asked about Tang Chang during lunch one day. Tang Gua nodded. Yes. Brother, do you have any news about Chang Chang? Gu Rongha smiled. Yes. Everyone in the capital city knows about Tang Chang. Tang Guo wondered what Tang Chang had done to make Gu Rongha ask about her. It seems that you don't know. Sister-in-law doesn't pay attention to the news in the capital city at all. Gu Rongha was surprised. He thought that Tang Guo would pay attention to the news there. Was he wrong? Gu Jusi held Tang Guo's small hand under the table and squeezed it. She asked, the entire Yu kingdom belongs to second brother. The capital is also under second brother's watch. Does Guo need to pay attention to these things? Big brother, hurry up and tell me what exactly happened. What kind of trouble did that cousin of yours cause? Gu Rongha did not keep Gu Jusi in suspense. He found it funny to see Gu Jusi protecting Tang Guo. He was just asking. Don't be so protective. Sister-in-law was such a mysterious and powerful person. She had helped him and his second brother so much. She was also the person that little Jiu liked. Now she was his sister-in-law. What would he do? This little nine, now that he had married into the family, he was really like water that had been splashed out. He did not side with his elder brother at all. You know that the capital city is not peaceful these days. The second brother's sons were all staring at the seat under his butt. A few years ago, I don't know who spread the news that the imperial physician said that the second prince might not live past 50. Those little brats couldn't sit still and caused a ruckus for a few years. Who knows how many people who participated were tortured to death, but they still didn't learn from their mistakes and insisted on participating. Fame and fortune, high and mighty temples, wealth and splendor, no one can escape, Tang Guo said. Gu Rongha nodded. Yes. Birds die for food just as men die for money. You're right, sister-in-law. Your cousin seems to have something amazing in her hands that made Su Machin shine. Even second brother had to reward him. In order to get more things out of his hands, second brother plans to treat him better. As the saying goes, fatten him up a little and slaughter him when the time comes. Tang Guo almost couldn't hold back her laughter. If the emperor knew that Gu Rongha didn't care at all and said that he was fatten him up, he would probably faint from anger. System, if they knew what it meant to harvest leeks, they wouldn't describe it as fatten him up. Sister-in-law, do you know lioli? Tangwa nodded. Aju gave me a lioli lamp before. It was said that it was a tribute from the western regions. That's right, Gu Rongha said. Do you know that lioli is the one who made Su Machin shine this time? Hurry up and calm down. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1919. Before Tangwa could say anything, Gu Rongha continued, he has the recipe for making colored glaze. Later, someone found out that the recipe was provided by your cousin, Tang Chong. Oh, I see. Not only that, your cousin also came up with all kinds of wonderful ideas. Some of them seem to be fantastical, but some of them are useful. One of the items should be popular among the people of the Bai family in the country of Yu. Tangwa asked curiously, what is it? Soap. Tangwa was not surprised. Since the glass was made, soap would not be a problem. Speaking of which, Tang Chong had a good memory. Perhaps when she saw the time traveler shining in the novel, she secretly recited the process and recipe of some things that could be made in ancient times. Brother, what is soap? Gu Jusi asked, is it good? How do I use it? Gu Rongha gave the butler a look. The butler quickly turned around and came back with 2 pieces of soap. Master, this can be used to wash clothes, hair, bathe, and even hands. I heard from the capital that Su Machin will come up with other uses later. He may add some other things to it. Gu Jusi held the soap and asked a lot of questions curiously. In the end, she asked Gu Rongha for more than half of it and gave it to Tangwa. Gua wash your hair with this in the future. Brother, ask someone to keep an eye on it. If there are better things, send someone to get some. After a pause, Gu Jusi said, let Su Machin be for a while. After he gives us all the good things, I'll deal with him. Gu Rongha was speechless. His younger brother was no longer his younger brother. He only thought about his wife when he had good things. This elder brother of his had been tossed to God knows where long ago. What else could he do but spoil his own younger brother? Tangwa hoped that Tang Chong would be able to make more useful things. After all, she was a typical peasant and did not want to be so high profile. Now, the embroidery shop was enough to make rouge and face powder. Since Tang Chong had already taken out the glazed soap, she didn't need anything else. In fact, with Su Machin around, he would definitely dig out all the goods in Tang Chong's belly. Some time later, Tangwa was lying on a deck chair under the grape trellis when she heard familiar footsteps approaching her. She did not need to open her eyes to know that it was Gu Jusi. 9. Gu Jusi stood in front of her, blocking everything. Tangwa called out to him. He lowered his head and kissed her forehead. He said softly, Gua, I brought you something good. Tangwa suddenly became energetic. Recently, Tang Chong had made a lot of good things. She had been waiting for them. What good stuff? Gua, it's really good stuff this time. Gu Jusi carried Tangwa and sat on the recliner, letting her sit on his lap. At this moment, Tangwa noticed that there was a brocade box in his hand. It was as big as 2 palms. Gua, the good stuff is inside. Gu Jusi's ears turned red as he placed the brocade box in Tangwa's hand. See for yourself. Tangwa opened the box. When she saw what was inside, she was slightly stunned. But she still asked, what is this? This is. Female supporting lead, calm down. Want to talk with more like-minded people, female supporting lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1920. When the system saw what was in the brocade box, it almost went crazy with laughter. Ha 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 ha, Gu Jusi was so cute. She was obviously embarrassed, but she still wanted to give this to Tang Gua. This was for women's menstruation. Gu Jusi whispered that this thing was made based on Tang Chong's idea. Wouldn't it be more convenient for Gua to look at it? Tang Gua held back her laughter and accepted Gu Jusi's kindness. Later, Tang Chong came up with many little things that were convenient for their daily life. But these things were not as good as the glass and soap. Su Machin used all kinds of methods to try to obtain more good things, but Tang Chong only memorized a little at that time. She only memorized these things on a whim. If she had known that she would transmigrate, she would have tried her best to memorize more useful things. Su Machin looked at Tang Chong and found that he could not get anything out of her, so he became much colder to her. The soap and glass alone were enough to make him shine and win the emperor's favor. Apart from some small things, he gave the soap and glass to the third prince, and the third prince gave them to the emperor. Of course, before that, they spent a lot of time experimenting with these two things. In his opinion, the third prince should be liked by the emperor with these two things. According to the third prince's recent reaction, the emperor treated him well and often summoned him to the palace to play chess. Tang Chong could not get anything out of him, and Su Machin lost his patience. Looking at Tang Chong's infatuated eyes every day, he felt a little nauseous. Finally, he did not have to face this woman every day. Tang Chong soon felt that Su Machin was cold to her. Not only that, Su Machin did not intend to avoid those girls who admired him. He even chatted happily with those girls at the poetry festival. More importantly, the third prince intended to matchmake Su Machin with a girl who was the daughter of a court official. Su Machin did not refuse and even seemed to want to marry her. At this moment, Tang Chong could not stand it. She did not think too much and directly questioned Su Machin why he was meeting those girls and why he wanted to marry the daughter of a court official. More importantly, the third prince said that he wanted to ask the emperor to grant a marriage between Su Machin and the court official's daughter. Wasn't this making her anxious? Su Machin faced Tang Chong and explained, "Chong, I'm the only one left in the marquis residence. At this time, the third prince's great cause has yet to be accomplished. I married the Li family's young miss only because I wanted to rope in more power. I don't really like her. And you, in my heart, are very special. I know you don't want to be a concubine, and I don't plan on taking you as a concubine. As long as you are willing to wait, when the third prince succeeds, I will divorce Miss Li and marry you." Roping in power was true, but as for divorcing Miss Li and marrying Tang Chong, that was just nonsense. If Tang Chong was an older transmigrator, she might be able to understand. But she was still young. She was still in junior high school. As for Su Machin, she only recognized the person she knew. The Su Machin who would do anything for Tang Bai. Among them, Su Machin was also introduced by the third prince, and in the end, he righteously refused for Tang Bai's sake. Thinking of this, Tang Chong was furious. "I don't care. If you want to marry someone, you can only marry me. No one else is allowed to marry you." She had worked so hard for so long, how could she let other women in to enjoy the fruits of her labor? "Su Machin, if you dare to marry another woman, I will make you regret it." X767E, and X9540, and X4E00, and X4E0B, and X201C, quick crossover, female supporting character, calm down, and X722A, and X4E66, and X5C4B, and X201D, and X6700, and X65B0, and X7AE0, and X8282. and X7B2C, and X4E00, and X65F6, and X95F4, and X514D, and X8D39, and X9605, and X8BFB, and X3002, and X3002, peak. Chapter 1921. Chang, I hope you can understand me. Su Machin looked at Tang Chong's angry face and her current reputation. It was indeed different from before. She was an ant that could be crushed at any time. In fact, it was easy to kill Tang Chong unknowingly, but it would take a little effort. But he didn't want to take the risk. There were still many uses for Tang Chong. First, he wasn't sure if Tang Chong still had those strange things that were useful to him. Second, on the surface, he valued Tang Chong very much. If everyone saw that he liked Tang Chong, the enemy would think that Tang Chong was his weakness. Exposing this weakness on the surface to confuse the enemy might be of great use in the future. Thinking of this, Su Machin reflected in his heart. Recently, he was indeed too cold to Tang Chong. If someone heard the news, it wouldn't be good. Chong, I really have no choice but to marry Miss Li. The person I support is the third prince. If I don't listen to him, I won't be able to gain his trust. Looking at Tang Chong's confused look, Su Machin continued, you know that I have a deep blood feud. Only with the help of the third prince can I take revenge and kill the person who framed my sister and mother. Tang Chong of course understood this. But she still couldn't accept that Su Machin would marry Miss Li for this. In the novel, Su Machin would compromise to this extent. In the novel, Su Machin only had eyes for Tang Bai. Through this comparison, Tang Chong felt uncomfortable. Actually, I don't have to marry Miss Li, Su Machin sighed, the third prince is actually very afraid of me. It's all because of the things Chong took out. He gave me two choices. Either I marry Miss Li or I send you to his house. Tang Chong was stunned. Was there such a thing? She had always been comparing herself with the novel. In fact, this world had developed to this point and had long been separated. Everything was already confusing. It wasn't the plot she was familiar with at all. The reason why Tang Chong and Su Machin had such a deep affection for each other was because of the hardships they had gone through together during their escape. After she and Su Machin left, Su Machin had been preparing his troops for a long time. He had long confused the enemy and smoothly returned to the capital. With her advice, he was able to clear his name. Actually, there wasn't anything profound between the two of them. Tang Chong couldn't help but suspect that Su Machin's love for her couldn't compare to his love for Tang Bai. Do you really like me? For the first time, Tang Chong asked this question. Su Machin's face was full of smiles and affection. Of course I like you. Chong, if I didn't like you, why would I discuss these things with you? You've already handed over everything you know. If I was really a greedy person and you were useless to me, I would have kicked you away long ago. Why would I be so careful to talk to you about these things? Tang Chong reluctantly believed Su Machin's words. Then after you marry Miss Li, how will you treat her and me? I'll let Miss Li live alone in a courtyard and treat you the same as before. She's just an invisible person. You don't have to care about her. Before this, Su Machin had already thought about how to make the most of Tang Chong. Vertex. Chapter 1922. Before, he really didn't think it through and treated Tang Chong coldly. It was mainly because her eyes were too infatuated, making him uncomfortable. Since he was young, he had met countless women who looked at him with such infatuated eyes. To be able to tolerate Tang Chong for so long, he was really reaching his limit. Before, Tang Chong could continuously take out good things, so he could still let her do whatever she wanted. Now that she couldn't take out the things, he lost his patience. But now, he had a new idea. He didn't care about that Miss Li at all. If he really didn't want to marry Miss Li, the third prince would never offend him and force him. After marrying Miss Li, he would instead treat Tang Chong well, letting everyone in the capital know that the person in the palm of his hand was Tang Chong. With this exposed weakness, he didn't know if his enemy would be happy. So, you married the Li family's young miss just to treat her as a decoration and put her in the mansion? Tang Chong asked in confusion. Su Machin nodded, yes. He looked at Tang Chong affectionately, holding her face and kissing it, because in my heart, there is only Chong, no one can come between us. Is Chong, still so unhappy now? Being hugged by Su Machin, Tang Chong felt confused for the first time. Although she liked her male god very much, before she transmigrated, she dreamed of being hugged by her male god. She felt sorry for him and hoped that by his side, she would be the one to encourage him and help him. But just now, she found that Su Machin was a little different from the male god she thought he was. The infatuation she thought he had, didn't seem to be with her. The shining points she used to like, seemed to be slowly disappearing. Su Machin said that after marrying Miss Li, he put her in the palace as a decoration, and the person he really liked was her, Tang Chong. So if the one he liked was her, why did he marry Miss Li? After marrying Miss Li, he put her in the palace as a decoration, ignoring others. He obviously didn't like her, but still wanted to marry her. Wasn't this scum? Mo, do you have a grudge against Miss Li? Tang Chong suddenly asked. Su Machin was a little stunned and asked, no, her father is the third prince's man. Chong, do you still mind? Does Miss Li agree to marry you? The third prince has already reported this matter to the emperor. It is possible that the imperial edict for the marriage will be issued soon. In front of the imperial edict, Miss Li will not object. Does she like you? If she doesn't like you, wouldn't she be forcing someone else? Su Machin thought that Tang Chong was really naive and ridiculous. As a woman of this vortex, wasn't she supposed to be used for marriage? Since they were young, they had lived a life of luxury. Now was the time to use them. Whether they were willing or not, whether they liked it or not, they had no right to object. Did Tang Chong really think that she could be with whoever she liked? He didn't know where she got those things in her head, but they definitely didn't belong to her. How could someone as naive as her come up with something like this? At first, he suspected Tang Guo's family. But later, he thought that if Tang Guo really had those things, she would have already given them to the emperor since she was already the little prince's wife. How could Tang Chong have a chance? Chong, you have to believe me. Even if Miss Li marries in, you are still the most powerful person in the manor. She can't provoke you. Su Machin said. He still had things to deal with, so he let go of Tang Chong and left. The Peak. Chapter 1923. Guo, what are you looking at? Gu Jisi walked in and saw Tang Guo flipping through something. It seemed to be a letter. Is it from the capital? It's a letter from second uncle. The third prince asked second brother to grant a marriage between Su Machin and Miss Li. Second uncle wrote back that Su Machin and Miss Li are married. Gu Jisi was surprised. Then second uncle is bringing cousin back. No, second uncle complained that Xiangxiang is still unwilling to leave. He said that Su Machin marrying Miss Li is just a decoration. She is still the most important person in the Marquis's residence. Gu Jisi did not understand. If Su Machin really likes cousin, he wouldn't have married Miss Li. What is your cousin thinking all day? If a man really likes a woman, he can't bear to let her suffer in any way. As he spoke, Gu Jusi hugged Tangua's waist and said shamelessly, for example, Gu Jusi, really like Gua. I can't bear for Gua to suffer a little. From the day I fell in love with you, I haven't looked at other girls. What a Ju means is that before you fell in love with me, you looked at other girls. Gu Jusi was speechless. Just like how a horse stumbles, people make mistakes. How could he say the wrong thing? No, Gua listen to me. In the past, I didn't know what a girl was. When second brother and big brother forced me to look at the portrait, I wanted to be a monk. Since I saw Gua I know what a girl is. What I mean is, because I like Gua no matter what girl floats in front of me, I can't see her. Alright, Ju, you don't have to explain. Gu Jusi heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that Tangguo believed him. What the hell? Didn't he just say something wrong? Why was his heart so nervous that it was about to jump out? He was afraid that she would be angry. In his mind, he even wondered if she would throw him away if she got angry. How strange. Then how is it now? Gu Jusi asked again. Tanguo said, Su Machin is indeed like what Tang Chong said. Even when he married Miss Li, he didn't go to see her on the wedding night. He has always been with Tang Chong. I don't know why, but the entire capital knows about this. Right now, everyone in the capital is talking about it. While laughing at Miss Li, she also said that Tang Chong was a charming vixen. In short, none of them were good words. Second uncle almost fell ill from anger because of this. Third brother went to see second uncle. Compared to before, second uncle looked a lot older. The whole city knows about it. Gu Jusi narrowed her eyes. Gua I'm afraid this matter isn't simple. Now that they are in a whirlpool, if Su Machin really cares about his cousin, why would he expose her to everyone, let everyone talk about her, and dote on her in such a high-profile way? Second uncle actually thought of it and told Chiang Chiang about it, but she refused to listen. Gu Jusi asked softly, do you need my help? Or should I ask second brother to help? There's no need. How can I let you do such a thing? If he did it, wouldn't he be helping them out of their predicament? Chiang Chiang is so stubborn. What can we do? I already asked third brother to take care of second uncle. As for Chiang Chiang, she can do whatever she wants. Gu Jusi understood Tangua's attitude, so she didn't say anything else. Even if his second brother was the emperor, there was no way to stop a woman from loving a man. If it wasn't for Tangua, he wouldn't have wanted to meddle in other people's business. No matter what happened to Tang Chong, she only had herself to blame. It was just that second uncle was so pitiful. He was already so old, but he still had to worry about her every day. Peak. Chapter 1924. Then Gua I'll tell Big Brother to get someone to watch over her. If there's really no other choice, he'll save cousin's life so that second uncle won't be sad. How about that? Although he did not care about Tang Chong's life and death, his Gua did not seem to care much either. However, Gua still seemed to care about second uncle. Other than loving money and occasionally being a little crafty, second uncle was actually very good to his own people. If Tang Chong's life was saved, it could be considered a comfort to him so that he would not be so sad. Aju, you really understand me. Gu Jusi's heart warmed. I want to understand Gua better. I can't wait to be a roundworm in Gua's stomach. A roundworm is so ugly. Aju, have you forgotten that I like good-looking people? Then I won't be a roundworm. He would just be a good-looking one. Should he ask the imperial physician for some prescription to maintain his youthful appearance? If he grew old and was not liked by Gua wouldn't he cry himself to death? We've been married for so long. When can I bring you to see second brother? Second brother also wants to see you. Gu Jusi could feel that Tang Gua did not want to go to the capital. Therefore, he had not mentioned it all along. However, after so long, Big Brother had settled down in the family Tang village. Second brother had written to him several times to ask him to bring Tang Gua back to take a look. He said that he would definitely not let his imagination run wild and would not send people to investigate Tang Gua. The letter said that he was pitiful. He said that he was already in such a miserable state as the emperor, but his younger brother still did not bring his sister-in-law back to see him. He was alone and was really lonely. Although it was not that exaggerated, Gu Jusi still wanted to go back and take a look. Second brother was more suspicious and liked to let his imagination run wild. There was no other way. He was the emperor. Ever since he was born and could think about problems, his brain was turning every day, thinking about how to protect his life and seek benefits for his side. This had already become a habit. If he did not think about it a day, he might die tomorrow. It was said that at that time, Big Brother, Second Brother, and Imperial Mother were surrounded by spies from the various palaces. Poisoning was very common. If he said the slightest wrong word, he could be used as an excuse. Therefore, his second brother liked to investigate everything in various ways. He would only be at ease when he found out the truth. This was also the reason why he had never brought Tang Gua home. He was afraid that his second brother would scare her. Now that second brother had said it so many times, it should be true. He wouldn't investigate Tang Gua anymore. He knew in his heart that Gua was very mysterious. He was different from the rest of the family Tang club members. But he didn't pursue the matter. It was meaningless. He only cared about this person. Anytime, Tang Gua replied with a smile. Do you need to be so polite when meeting your second brother? In the future, a Jew can tell me about such things. It's only right that I visit second brother from time to time. That day, Gu Jusi was very happy. 10 days later, the two set off for the capital. The two of them rode in the same carriage. The housekeeper didn't follow, but Lin Yan did. Tang Bai was also brought along by Tang Gua. Tang Bai refused at first, but Tang Gua said that she wanted to broaden her horizons. She couldn't refuse, so she agreed. Tang Bai's current skills were already very good. In order to practice martial arts, she basked in the sun every day and became much darker. In addition to the carriage, they also pulled many items produced by the embroidery shop. They were all for the emperor. Most of them were cloth and some rouge and powder embroidered handkerchiefs. When they stepped into the capital again, Tang Bai looked at the bustling city and was a little stunned. The peak. Chapter 1925. After sitting in the carriage for so many days, Tang Bai's face, which had been tanned with great difficulty, had become rosy again. The little girl was so tender that she attracted people's attention at first glance. She only had to lift the curtain of the carriage to attract people outside. Tang Bai reacted and quickly put the carriage down. When they arrived at Gu Jusi's house, they settled Tang Bai inside and asked Lin Yan to take care of her. Tang Gua and Gu Jusi took the goods to the palace to see the emperor. Because of the medical books that Tang Gua gave him, the emperor looked very energetic. However, his face was still a little pale. At that moment, Tang Gua seemed to have noticed something. System, Tang Gua, just pretend that you didn't see it, lest he thinks too much. Of course, the emperor didn't put on any rouge or powder. It should be made by the imperial physician. When he saw Tang Gua, he subconsciously showed a thoughtful expression. He wanted to find out what was going on. Then, Gu Jusi said, "Second brother, I'm here to see you." Then, the emperor hurriedly put away his thoughtful expression and coughed lightly. Little Joe, you finally came back with your princess consort. Yes, I didn't come back to see second brother. It's my fault. Guo prepared many gifts for second brother. When the emperor heard about the gifts, he became energetic. When he saw the exquisite cloth, he smiled. He was also very satisfied with the rouge, powder, and embroidered handkerchiefs. He had many beauties in his harem. They would be very happy to give these to them. He would never mistreat obedient beauties. As long as they were obedient, he would take pity on them. Perhaps it was because of his experience. As long as they didn't have bad intentions and wanted to sway him, he was very good to them. Even if he didn't have any extra feelings, he wouldn't mistreat them. The emperor and Gu Jusi ate. Of course, in the middle of the meal, there were many times when his gaze fell on Tang Guo and he showed a thoughtful expression. Then, he would be interrupted by Gu Jusi, which made him smile awkwardly. Tang Guo pretended that she didn't know anything. Tang Chongqing was also called in by the emperor. This meal was quite pleasant. Being with the emperor was indeed not as comfortable as being with Gu Ronghe. Before leaving the imperial palace, the emperor bestowed many good things to Tang Guo. He also told her to take good care of Gu Jusi and not bully him. Tang Guo. Second brother Zhen, did he really think that his younger brother was going to marry her? Alright, you could say that. After the two of them left, the emperor subconsciously shouted, "Guards! Your Majesty, what are your orders?" The emperor said, "You, go and investigate." At this point, the emperor paused and patted his forehead in annoyance. "Go back. It's fine now." He almost ordered his men to investigate Tang Guo's background. "I really don't want to go out," Tang Bai said. Lin Yan frowned. "No, Madam told me to take you out for a walk and buy things for you." Tang Bai, let's go. I'll carry out Madam's orders. You can shop for as long as you want. You can buy whatever you want. I'll carry it for you. Tang Bai was a little helpless. These were also orders from Big Sister. Yes. Lin Yan nodded very seriously. Peek. Chapter 1926. Master said that if I don't follow Madam's instructions, I will be driven back to the mountain. Miss Bai, please don't make things difficult for me. He really didn't want to go back to the mountain. His martial arts were already better than his master's. There was no point in practicing hard on the mountain every day. When he went down the mountain, he even beat up all his fellow disciples. If he went back, they would definitely take revenge on him from time to time. Maybe there was no hot water for bathing, the steamed buns were rotten, the tea leaves were always from the year before and the quilt must be wet. He didn't want to live that kind of life. Thinking about it made him shiver. Tang Bai finally agreed to go shopping in the capital. She really didn't understand why her sister would give Lin Yan such a task when she entered the palace. She didn't know how many times she had strolled around the capital. She didn't yearn for the prosperity here at all. If possible, she hoped that she would never step into this place for the rest of her life. Aren't you going to buy anything? After shopping for a long time, Lin Yan couldn't help but ask. He was already prepared to carry a lot of things in a while. Every time the young ladies of the capital went shopping, their maids and attendants would carry big and small bags. I didn't see anything that I like. Tang Bai found an excuse. These things were dazzling and didn't meet her eyes. After a while, Tang Bai took a fancy to some beautiful jewelry and said, "Sis will definitely like these. Buy more for her." Now that she has money, if she sees something suitable for Tang Guo, she will buy it with all her might. Unfortunately, the embroidery shop had countless of such things, so she didn't need to do it. Then she could only buy some pearl jewelry for her sister. I think that pair of jade earrings suits you better. And that one with a little green pearl flower also suits you. Lin Yan commented. He didn't mean anything else, he just thought that those two things suited Tang Bai. Tang Bai paused and glanced at the things Lin Yan said, I don't like to wear these things. Lin Yan looked at Tang Bai and saw that she was indeed dressed very simply. Her hair was held up with a hairpin. The color of her clothes was also very light. He didn't say anything else, but his eyes were always on the pearl flower and earrings. He felt that these two things suited her very well. When Tang Bai finished shopping and was about to leave, Lin Yan suddenly said, I want these too. Tang Bai looked back and found that Lin Yan actually bought the pearl hair clip and earrings that he mentioned before. She smiled and said, You're a big man, what are you buying this for? She didn't expect that Lin Yan would actually stuff something into her arms. This shocked Tang Bai. What are you doing? It's nothing. I just think it suits Miss Ah Bai. Tang Bai didn't accept it. How could she dare to accept such a sudden gift? She observed Lin Yan carefully and found that his expression did not change. She asked hesitantly, You gave it to me because it suits me? Yeah, or else. Lin Yan said seriously. Do you need any other reason? Anyway, he had a lot of money. The money that his master gave him was really a lot. He really couldn't find a place to spend it. Tang Bai breathed a sigh of relief, Thank you, but don't be like this in the future. I can't possibly buy everything that suits me, right? Lin Yan responded faintly. He suddenly felt that it was not a big deal to buy everything that was suitable. Vertex. Chapter 1927. Not long after Tang Bai and Lin Yan walked back, they bumped into Tang Chong, who was strolling outside. Tang Chong saw her first and rushed over with her people. Her originally gloomy expression turned into a smile. Ah Bai, why are you in the capital? Is Sister Gua here too? My father should have told you that I'm here. Why didn't you come to find me? Tang Bai was a little overwhelmed by Tang Chong's enthusiasm. After a while, she said, I just arrived today. Sister Changchang, I heard about your situation. Are you okay? Tang Chong paused and said, I'm fine. I'm fine. Come, let's go to the Marquis's residence to talk. Where are you staying now? Do you want to go to my place? Tang Bai did not dare to go to the Marquis's residence. She quickly said, I have a place to stay. Sister has already arranged it. If you want to talk, let's find another place. It's not convenient to go to the Marquis's residence. Tang Chong did not force her. In fact, she also felt that it was not convenient to go to the Marquis's residence. Even if Su Machin doted on her so much, the Marquis's residence was hers. She had the final say. The young lady of the Li family had been neglected since her wedding night. She was placed in the most remote courtyard, and Su Machin had not even taken a look at her. He doted on her so much, but why was she not happy? The two held hands and talked, planning to find a tea house. Before they could take 2 steps, they were stopped by someone. It was Tang Gua and Gu Jusi who came out of the palace. Tang Gua was helped down from the carriage by Gu Jusi and came to the two. Sister Gua, When Tang Chong saw Tang Gua, she was very happy. Coincidentally, we met. Let's go to the tea house and talk. I won't invite you to the Marquis's residence. After thinking about it, Tang Chong still felt that it was better not to involve these two. Look at now, they were not involved with Su Machin. Their lives were really good. Sister Gua, was looking for a son-in-law. He was good-looking and obedient. She also had the family Tang village's huge embroidery shop. Tang Chang didn't have to suffer with Su Machin, run around, and be entangled in love and hate. Although she didn't know many things, she knew that the Marquis's estate was currently in a whirlpool. If she really brought these two people back, they might be targeted and put in danger. In the end, Gu Jusi chose a tea house. This tea house was under Gu Rongha's name, so it was trustworthy. In the private room, Tang Bai couldn't help but ask, "Sister Chiang Chiang, now that Su Machin has married someone else, why don't you leave him? I heard that second uncle even fell ill because of this. He said that he didn't like Miss Li." After Miss Li entered, she was arranged to stay in a remote courtyard. Mo hasn't seen her even once. I believe he doesn't like Miss Li, and as you can see, Tang Chang waved her hand. Everything she had was given to her by Su Machin. No matter who she was in front of, she was the most important. You should have heard that he dotes on me very much. Tang Bai was at a loss for words, not knowing what to say. Since he dotes on you and loves you, why did he marry Miss Li? Tang Bai asked. Tang Chang lowered her head slightly. He said that he had no choice. In that position, he had to compromise. If he didn't marry Miss Li, there would be a gap between him and the third prince. He also said that he could either marry Miss Li or send me to the third prince's residence. In the end, he chose to marry Miss Li, the peak. Chapter 1928. He also said that when everything is done, he will divorce Miss Li and marry me. Tang Chang said in a daze. Her eyes were no longer as bright as before, as if there was a layer of mist covering her beautiful eyes. Tang Bai pursed her lips. Would she believe such words? Even if she hated Su Machin, she had to admit that in her previous life, Su Machin was indeed very affectionate towards her. But this deep affection was not normal. It was Su Machin who felt guilty towards her. She had silently accompanied them through all the hardships they had gone through together, and she was the most important person in his life. There were too many things contained in this heavy and affectionate love. And Tang Chang and Su Machin, Tang Chang did not hesitate to give. There were too many women like her by Su Machin's side. Even if Tang Chang was different, the things she took out made her gasp. It was hard to change that Su Machin thought that these things were within reach and did not cherish them. She knew Su Machin too well. The harder it was to get something, the more he wanted it. The easier it was to lose, the more he watched over it. But she could not say these things. Even now, with her identity as a sister, no one would hurt her. It was fine if there was an abnormal Tang Chang, but if there was another her, it would inevitably attract the attention of people with bad intentions. Who knew what kind of terrible misfortune it would bring? Chang Chang, I won't advise you on anything else. Go visit your second uncle often, he is very worried about you. Originally, your second uncle had a dream of becoming rich, but because of you, he had to stop. Tang Chang felt a little guilty. I will. To be honest, this cheap father of hers was really good to her. I will. I will go visit my father every day from now on. I won't anger him anymore. To be honest, after transmigrating for so many years, she was starting to miss her previous home. Although her parents did not come back often, they would still call her every day. Even if they did not see her, they would still care about her. And her group of girls who played with Lolita, she did not know how they were doing now. She did not know how she transmigrated and what happened before. She was starting to miss the little dresses that she had bought. If she had already died in that world, her parents would definitely be heartbroken. They would definitely burn those little dresses of hers. Thinking about it, it was a little painful. Would those young ladies feel sorry for her? Would her rival, who was arguing with her idol, be happy to find out that she was dead? Her deskmate would heave a sigh of relief from time to time. No one would recommend the male lead of the same book to her anymore. Sister Gua bye, don't worry about me. I'm fine now. Imo treats me very well. I believe in him. After all, he was the Prince Charming that she had liked for so many years. Prince Charming was always perfect, wasn't he? She didn't know when she would wake up from this dream. Even if he would wake up in the future, she didn't know what the outcome would be. She wanted to wait until the end to take a look. Seeing Tang Chong like this, Tang Bai stopped trying to persuade her. The three sisters chatted for a while and then left. Before leaving, Tang Chong asked, Sister Gua, will you be staying in the capital for a while? I will. I'll go there later. Oh. Tang Chong didn't say that she would look for them when she was free. It was better not to look for him. To them, Su Machin was trouble. Right now, all parties were staring at the house of Marquis Vertex. Chapter 1929. Tang Bai was not happy all day. Lin Yan had been ordered by Tang Gua to protect her and accompany her. So when he saw her unhappy, he racked his brains and thought of many ways to take her out to play. Every time, Tang Bai did not want to go out because she did not want to meet Su Machin. She did not expect Lin Yan to say with a distressed face that if she did not agree, Gu Jusi would chase him back to the mountain and beat him up. Tang Bai was soft-hearted and agreed. Lin Yan was indeed a blockhead, but after Tang Bai went out with him, she was in a much better mood. Later, when Lin Yan took her out, she did not object. Instead, she asked him excitedly where they were going today. Lin Yan saw that Tang Bai was happy and unconsciously felt happy too. Tang Gua and Gu Jusi's days were even simpler. Every few days, the emperor would invite them to the palace to play. Although the emperor's gaze was always strange, Tang Gua was already used to it. With Gu Jusi around, the emperor would often smile awkwardly. Later on, perhaps because they got familiar with each other, they really became like a family. The way he looked at Tang Gua was also not so deep. However, when they chatted, there would always be some awkward things happening. For example, now, the chief steward whispered to the emperor, Your Majesty, the imperial physician routinely took the pulse of the imperial concubines this morning. Concubine Qin, Concubine Su, and Concubine Yun are all pregnant. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Congratulations, Your Majesty. You have another dragon heir. Tang Gua, Gu Jusi, System, Concubine Qin, Concubine Su, and Concubine Yun are all pregnant. The emperor was not particularly happy or unhappy. Instead, he asked in surprise, so many. The chief steward's mouth twitched. His Majesty was a person who took pity on the imperial concubines. When his body recovered, he would be fair to the obedient imperial concubines. When His Majesty recovered, there was no way to avoid this. Wasn't it normal for the imperial concubines to be pregnant? Why was His Majesty so surprised? It was as if he did not do it. Your Majesty, the little prince and the little princess are watching. Is this really okay? Oh, that's really a very happy thing. Reward them well. Gu Jusi secretly squeezed Tang Gua's little hand and congratulated him with a smile. Second brother, congratulations. I have a little nephew again. The emperor was a little embarrassed and casually asked, What about you, little nine? You've been married for so long. Second brother, aren't Gua and I still young? I think it's good to have only two people. To be honest, if the emperor hadn't mentioned it, he really wouldn't have thought about it. When he was asked, he subconsciously didn't want any children. He didn't want any of them. When he thought of those women who had children and had their hearts set on their children, his heart was filled with jealousy. Thinking about his father and mother, they must have been very loving back then. But in front of the brothers, Imperial Mother really didn't like Imperial Father that much. If he had a child and treated him like that, he would be tortured to death. Gu Juxi's heart was in a mess. She held Tangua's hand and left. She did not notice the Emperor's conflicted expression behind her as he wondered which concubine he should visit first. Adieu. Tangua reached out and touched Gu Juxi's forehead. What's the matter? Why are you frowning? Gu Juxi held Tangua's hand. Do you like children? If liked them, what should he do? He couldn't force not to like them, right? Why were there still children in this world? The Peak. Chapter 1930. Aju, why are you asking this? Tangua pursed her lips and smiled. How many restrictions had this guy placed on her? She did not believe that men in ancient times were born with such thoughts. Even in modern society, which was more open-minded, most men still wanted to have a child. The thought of carrying on the family line was ingrained in their bones, and it was impossible to erase it. Even if they did not have such thoughts, there were still many men who wanted to be a father. When it fell to this guy, he refused and even said that the child was a third party. It was true that she did not have any thoughts about children. It was not because her soul was too strong and she could not bear children because she lived in this body. It was because she did not have such thoughts. It was not easy to have someone who could make her feel love. Trying to make her feel a bit of motherly love was simply a fantasy. If he was not ruthless, how could he woo the great host? The system could not help but speak up. Host, this guy should know that your soul is special and cannot bear a bloodline in the small world. That way, after meeting you in the small world and getting married, I wouldn't put a restriction on myself for the sake of having a child. Tangua smiled. I know. He's ruthless enough. As for what he placed, I think it's most likely that once he has the thought of having a child, he will think that he will fall out of favor. He will think that the child is a third party between him and the great host and will destroy your relationship. He will think that the great host will never see him again after having a child. Ah, so sour. Tangua could not stop smiling. You don't seem to dislike him that much anymore. Because he is very sincere to the great host. And from his behavior, even if there is a story between the two of you, I don't think he will be the one who will really hurt the great host. Tangua was silent for a moment. I don't know. Let's talk about it in the future. He is obedient now and can be accepted. System, you scumbag. You don't want him if he is not obedient, right? Gu Juxi said with some grievance. When I heard second brother mention the issue of children, I thought about it. I can't accept that there will be a child snatching you away from me in the future. System, ha ha ha. The life I yearn for is just you and me. When I think of a boy or girl snatching you away from me, I feel unhappy. Tangua held back her laughter when she saw Gu Juxi's sad expression. If really likes children, I can only convince myself and slowly accept it. Who asked to like him? These words were really heart-wrenching. Ajo. Tangua wrapped her arms around Gu Juxi's waist and said in a low voice, I think the same as you. We don't need another person between us. You and I are enough for our world. Gu Juxi no longer felt wronged. The jar of vinegar that he had knocked over earlier seemed to have been an illusion. He hugged Tangua tightly and asked, Really? Yes, Tangua replied and looked at him with a smile. Isn't it good for us to be like this? Gu Juxi paused. She held Tangua's hands and murmured, Let's hold your hands and grow old together. You have me, and I have you. That's enough. Gu Jussi's heart was about to burst with laughter. As expected, Guo was a part of his heart. She understood him the most. Gu Jussi was actually a very greedy person. However, there was something strange in his soul that always reminded him not to be greedy. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, hurry up and change to a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1931. Every time he wanted to fight for more for himself, the coldness that came from the depths of his soul made him not dare to say a word. After being married to Tang Guo for so long, he had found a way to tactfully express his thoughts through probing step by step without touching that terrifying feeling. Guo thank you for meeting you in this life. Otherwise, I would have to leave home and become a monk. I hope that we can meet again in the next life because only you can save me. After Gu Jussi said this, he did not feel the coldness. His heart relaxed a little. Asking for a next life was not too greedy. If that feeling was not so terrifying, he would have asked for a lifetime. In this life, he would ask for the next life. In the next life, he would ask for the next life. In the next life, he would ask for the next life. This plan was really perfect. Then be good and don't look at other girls. If you look at other girls, I won't be with you. Don't worry. In this world, other than Guo, who is a beautiful girl, everyone else is like a block of wood. I have face blindness and can't tell who is who. System, awesome, this guy. Gu Jussi was satisfied. Recently, he was full of smiles whenever he met anyone. Lin Yan was a little unhappy and very distressed. When he did not accompany Tang Bai to tour the capital, he usually stayed at Gu Jussi's side and watched him fiddle with the little things that he had given Tang Guo. Ever since he met Madame, his master seemed to have become omnipotent and could do anything. For example, Tang Guo had mentioned playing on a swing under the grape trellis. The next day, there was an extra swing in the house. Lin Yan stood at the side and watched Gu Jussi push Tang Guo to play. The two of them were playing happily. Originally, Lin Yan did not feel anything when he saw all this. But today, he felt that something was wrong. Big brother Lin, don't you feel hot standing under the sun? Tang Bai came out of the house with a teapot. Let's go to a cool place. I just made some herbal tea. Do you want to drink some? Lin Yan did not hesitate and followed Tang Bai into the house. He did not forget to answer the previous question. Not hot. Tang Bai handed him a clean handkerchief. Help me wipe it off. You're sweating. Lin Yan looked at the handkerchief in his hand and froze for a moment. When Tang Bai turned around, he used his sleeve to wipe off the sweat on his forehead. As for the handkerchief, he had already hidden it in his bosom. As he recalled this action, his entire body stiffened. What was wrong with him? When Tang Bai turned around and poured him a cup of cold tea, his eyes couldn't move away from this woman's body. Whenever he saw her, his blood would flow faster. It was a feeling that he was about to go crazy. When Tang Bai disappeared from his sight, the feeling disappeared. But as long as he thought of Tang Bai's appearance in his mind, he felt like he was going to go crazy. Master, we need to make a trip back to the mountain. One morning, Lin Yan took advantage of Gu Jussi's free time to look for him. It's only for 2 days. I'll be back soon. Gu Jussi was surprised. Did something happen? I suspect that there's something wrong with my practice, Lin Yan said seriously. I've been looking for a problem for several days, but I can't find anything. Although my martial arts are better than my master has lived for so many years and has seen so much. I'll have to go back and ask him about this matter. Gu Juicy smiled. Your senior and junior brothers will definitely welcome you. Peek. Chapter 1932. During breakfast, Tang Bai saw that Lin Yan was not around and asked, "Brother-in-law, where's big brother Lin?" He went back to the mountain to find his master. Gu Juicy answered casually and fed Tang Gua a spoonful of porridge from time to time. Tang Bai was already used to it. Seeing her sister so happy, she felt happy from the bottom of her heart. Her sister deserved to live like this. A good woman like her should be matched with a good man like her brother-in-law. Is there something urgent? Tang Bai asked with concern. She was a little afraid when she came to the capital. Later, she was dragged out to go shopping by that blockhead Lin Yan. Although she did not meet Su Machin, she met many people she knew in her previous life. It was not that scary. In addition, she had Lin Yan by her side. His martial arts skills were superb, which gave her courage. Thus, she was very grateful to this mentor. Even if he was a little blockhead, he was a good person. When she heard that he had something to do, it was inevitable that she would ask more. He said that something went wrong in his practice and he could not find the reason. He wanted to ask his master. Lin Yan's status was not low. He was the disciple of a hidden master and had superb martial arts skills. He would be invited as a guest by the capital's prince. Why did he insist on following him? This led to the fact that when Lin Yan went down the mountain for the first time, he was tricked and almost sold. Although he would be rescued in the end, he met the meddlesome Gu Juicy, who saved the cold-faced child sitting in the carriage. From then on, Lin Yan recognized Gu Juicy and said that he would protect him. Later, Lin Yan's master came and took Lin Yan back. Later, he wanted to go out. His second brother and eldest brother were worried. Because of Lin Yan's master, they made a request. They hoped that there would be a master willing to protect Gu Juicy. They took Gu Juicy up the mountain. The masters on the mountain looked like masters, but in reality, they wanted to come down to play. However, their master was stingy. If they went down the mountain to play, they would not be able to enjoy themselves. They would have to work hard to earn money. Now that they became the little prince's guards, although they did not have as much freedom, they would not be mistreated. Lin Yan's fellow apprentices were all fighting to be his bodyguards. Lin Yan was not interested at first, but when he saw Gu Juicy, he suddenly jumped out. He said that he would accept the job. Originally, the emperor and Gu Ronghe had proposed 20 years, but Lin Yan said that as long as Gu Juicy needed it, he would protect him forever. The emperor and Gu Ronghe, however, were delighted. This was the disciple that the master was most proud of. However, Lin Yan's seniors and juniors refused to comply. In the end, as mentioned before, Lin Yan single-handedly defeated all his seniors and juniors. In order to avoid being stopped by his own master, he even defeated his own master. In the end, he stood expressionlessly beside Gu Juicy and said, "From now on, I am the little prince's guard." At that time, Lin Yan was much colder than he was now. Is it serious? Tang Bai was a little anxious when she heard that Lin Yan had made a mistake in his practice. Gu Juicy said vaguely, "It shouldn't be serious." In fact, he didn't notice anything wrong with Lin Yan's practice. However, Lin Yan's kung fu was rarely matched by anyone in the world. It would be better to go back and ask that expert. While Tang Bai was worried, Lin Yan returned 2 days later. "Big brother Lin, I heard that something happened during your practice. Has it been resolved?" When Lin Yan saw Tang Bai's flushed face and the anxious look in her eyes, a smile unconsciously appeared on his lips. He quickly hid it. "It's resolved." "That's good. Do you want to go shopping? Is there anything you want to buy?" Tang Bai shook her head. There's nothing to buy. Then let's go take a look. Maybe you'll want to buy something. You didn't go out these 2 days, right? I think so. Then let's go. Okay. My third nephew and seventh nephew have been fighting fiercely recently. It might have already involved my cousin. Seventh nephew wants to use her to threaten Su-Machin, but he doesn't know that Su-Machin deliberately exposed this weakness to catch evidence. So soon. Gu Jusi said, yes. Don't worry. I've already arranged for someone to save her life. It's all thanks to a Jew. It's who gave me this opportunity. By the way, I found that Lin Yen was a little strange after he came back. Why did he take by shopping for nothing and buy a bunch of things for her? Gu Jusi burst into laughter. He must be enlightened. Bai doesn't seem to have that kind of feeling for Lin Yen at the moment. Gu Jusi lazily hugged Tang Guo and the two leaned against each other. Lin Yen is stubborn. As long as Bai doesn't like anyone, he can accompany her to buy things for the rest of her life. What if Bai has someone she likes? He might find out something bad about that person for Bai to see. Tang Guo, he learned it from you. Gu Jusi, he won't take the blame. Peek. Chapter 1933. Big Brother Lin, I saw you holding the wine just now. Are you injured? Tang Bai looked at Lin Yen with concern, but she didn't show anything on her face. There were only a few people living in the house. Brother-in-law and sister were always lovey-dovey in the house, so it was impossible for them to be injured. Previously, she had inadvertently seen Lin Yen walking towards her room with the wine in his hand. It wasn't good to stop him, so she forgot about it. When the two of them were shopping, she remembered this matter. It's nothing, don't worry. Lin Yen said expressionlessly. It was just that when he returned to the mountain, he wanted to ask if something had happened to him. It wasn't good to beat up his senior and junior brothers again, but he didn't expect them to be so impolite and find an opportunity to hit him. They even said that they wouldn't hit him in the face because they were from the same sect, so that he wouldn't look bad when he went out. After much difficulty, he finally managed to get past his senior and junior brothers. He went to ask his master about what had happened to him. After talking about his situation, he felt that his master's expression was a little strange. At that time, he thought it was something serious. He looked at his master seriously stroking his long beard and said to him seriously, Lin Yen, your problem is a little serious. It's indeed a rare problem in cultivation. At that time, he asked very anxiously, Master, is there a solution? His master nodded, there is. Although I haven't encountered it, I've heard of it and know how to solve it. Master, please enlighten me. At that time, Lin Yen sincerely asked his master for advice. He never thought that his master would lie to him. But he forgot that when he followed the little prince down the mountain and became his guard, he beat up his master in front of the entire sect. He didn't give him any face at all. Although his master was an expert, he was still a human and cared about his face. He was humiliated by his disciple, so he would definitely bear a grudge. Sooner or later, he would get back at him. For this matter, only I can help you unblock your meridians. At that time, his master's expression was clearly strange, with a hint of excitement. But he still chose to believe in his master. Then, his master told him not to resist and to unblock his meridians. After undoing it, Lin Yen stood there motionless and was beaten up crazily by his master. When he was hammering, he didn't feel anything wrong. Even though his master's fists were disorderly, and he was beating him with all his might, he still thought that this was the order in the chaos. It was just that he had only been practicing martial arts for a short period of time, so he couldn't see the profoundness in it. So he just stood there and let his master beat him up for an hour. Even if his inner strength was deep and his martial arts were good, being beaten up by an expert like his master, even if he didn't use his inner strength, it would still be painful. At this time, he still believed that his master was helping him unblock his meridians to prevent him from going berserk. This was his master. If it were someone else, he would definitely not believe it. When his master stopped, he heard a very happy laugh, like this, "Ha ha 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 ha, this little brat, back then, he defeated me in front of so many people and didn't give me any face. Today, I finally got my face back." Only then did Lin Yen realize that he had been deceived. Although he was deceived, his master still told him about the abnormality in the end. Therefore, his master was still his master. Although he had beaten him up, he was still his master. The merits and demerits offset each other. Vertex. Chapter 1934. When he went down the mountain, his master told him that if it wasn't for the fact that he was his disciple, he would have been slapped in the face. Lin Yen thought that his master was already very good to him. If he really was slapped in the face, he would have no face to see Miss Bai when he came back. Although he was now covered in fist wounds, Miss Bai wouldn't know. He would just secretly apply some medicinal wine and it would be fine. When Lin Yen came back to his senses, he found that something was wrong with Tang Bai. Seeing her staring in a certain direction, he looked in the same direction. He saw that it was a pavilion. It turned out that they had unknowingly walked to the lake. In the pavilion, there were several young masters sitting there. He knew all of them. The two most outstanding ones were Su Mo Chen and the third prince. "Miss Bai, are you really worried about Miss Tang Chang?" Other than this, Lin Yen couldn't think of anything else. He always knew that Tang Bai didn't like Su Machen at all. As long as she found a chance to talk to Tang Chang, she couldn't help but persuade the other. But Tang Chang was too stubborn and didn't listen to advice. Tang Bai looked away. "I heard from my sister that the situation is getting worse. I'm very worried about Miss Chang." She could see that the soul in Tang Chang's body was a very simple girl who wholeheartedly liked Su Machen. Just by the fact that she took out so many things that were beneficial to Su Machen, it was enough to prove that she was sincere. This sincerity could be given to anyone, but not to Su Machen. That person wouldn't cherish it. Master has arranged everything to protect Miss Tang Chang's life. Tang Bai smiled and shook her head. "I know. With sister and brother-in-law around, everything would be arranged properly in the headquarters." She didn't understand why she was reborn. Was she going to live a peaceful life like this after her rebirth? Miss Tang Bai. When Tang Bai and Lin Yen were about to leave, they were suddenly stopped by someone. Who else could it be but Su Machen, who called out to her? She turned around stiffly and suddenly remembered that there was still someone standing beside her. Her heart relaxed slightly and she turned to face Su Machen. She wasn't so nervous. After facing Su Machen, Tang Bai instantly felt a gaze with a deeper meaning. She frowned slightly. She didn't need to think too much to know that it was from the third prince. Su Machen was one of the third prince's men, so he definitely knew about the matter between her sister and brother-in-law. He and the third prince were on the same side, so the third prince most likely knew about this matter. Then the third prince must have known that she was the younger sister of the little princess. No wonder she felt uncomfortable when she saw the meaningful look in his eyes just now. This Su Machen was afraid of his brother-in-law and didn't dare to provoke him, so he planned to let the third prince make a move on her. It was indeed a good plan. Tang Bai, who had originally planned to avoid it, didn't know why, but she didn't want to anymore. Why was Su Machen able to use others as he pleased? Then she would let him experience what it meant to have his hopes dashed. Young Master Su. Tang Bai paused for a moment before changing the way she addressed him. I should call you Marquis now. When Su Machin saw Tang Bai, he was also stunned. Was this still the dark-skinned little girl from before? Her delicate skin and pretty face were something that even the noble ladies in the capital could not compare to. He didn't know why, but when he saw this side of Tang Bai, he wanted to dispel his previous thoughts. Vertex. Chapter 1935. The third prince's eyes were filled with amazement. Thinking of the other's identity, his eyes became even more fiery. This kind of beauty, even if she didn't have any status, he was still willing to have her. The other party was also the little princess's younger sister, so he was even more satisfied. Fortunately, he didn't have an official wife yet, only a concubine and a concubine. The little princess's younger sister, if he gave her the position of official wife, the other party shouldn't say anything. After all, if he inherited the throne in the future, she would be the mother of the world. Miss Tang Bai, did you just arrive in the capital? Su Machin asked with a smile, pointing to the pavilion. Do you want to sit there? Okay. Lin Yan thought that Tang Bai would refuse, but didn't expect her to agree. He didn't like the way these two men looked at her. But if she wanted to go, he could only accompany her. Although he was a bit of a blockhead, he could see that Tang Bai had just changed her attitude. Why did she change? In Tang Bai's eyes, there wasn't any infatuation with anyone. It was also because he had been by his master's side for too long that his eyes on women were quite accurate. Before, he was confused because he thought that he wouldn't be moved by women and didn't think too much about it. Now that his mind was bewitched by her, he naturally had to carefully observe her various emotions. With him here, she wouldn't be at a disadvantage, so he decided to see what she wanted to do. The third prince was delighted. It seemed that things were easier than he thought. Su Machin was slightly jealous. He didn't know why, but ever since he saw this different Tang Bai, he felt that he had missed something. But what was in front of him was a great undertaking. The third prince seemed to be very satisfied with Tang Bai, so he couldn't do anything. They chatted happily and the third prince even asked Tang Bai to come out to play next time, which Tang Bai agreed. Lin Yan escorted Tang Bai back and on the way back, he couldn't help but ask, Miss Bai, why did you agree to them? It's my first time in the capital and I don't know anyone, so I wanted to make friends. Is that so? Lin Yan didn't ask any more questions. After sending Tang Bai back, he turned to organize the third prince's information. The next day, when Tang Bai opened the door and left the room, Lin Yan was already standing at the door with a pile of information. Big brother Lin, what are you doing? Miss Bai, this is the information I've investigated for you. Lin Yan handed a pile of books to Tang Bai. It's all about the third prince. Miss Bai, take a good look. Even if you're making friends, you have to keep your eyes open. Some people don't look good and have a noble status, but in reality, their hearts are completely black. Tang Bai froze for a moment, hugging a pile of books and not understanding what was going on. But since Lin Yan had given her these, she intended to take a look. Although she had a certain understanding of the third prince. After she finished reading, she felt that she really didn't know enough. This third prince was indeed a character. Not only was he vicious and merciless, he was also a very cunning person. Within 2 days, Tang Guo also found out that Tang Bai and the third prince had become friends, and that Lin Yan was so anxious that he almost went to pick the third prince up and beat him up. She lay in Gu Juxi's arms and could not stop laughing. Guo is Bai really alright? No, Bai won't like Su Machin, and she definitely won't like the third prince. Gu Juxi nodded. These days, Lin Yan can't control himself anymore. If Bai meets the third prince again, I think he'll really find the third prince in the middle of the night to settle the score. Ah, Joe, we should go back. Gu Jusi calculated the time and nodded. That's right, we should go back. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role and calm down. Look, talk about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1936. In the past half-month, Tang Bai would meet with the third prince at the lakeside pavilion almost every day or two. Of course, she would bring Lin Yan with her every time. The third prince and Su Machin had tacitly agreed that Lin Yan was her guard for the time being to protect her safety. They didn't know that under Lin Yan's cold face, there was a ruthless expression that wished he could tear the two of them to pieces. Although they often felt that the surroundings were chilly, they didn't think of this aspect. Tang Bai looked at the third prince fawning over her with a gentle smile on her face. Yesterday, her sister told her that in 3 days, they would be leaving for family Tang village. This third prince thought that everything was in her hands. She didn't know if he would be angry when she returned. Because of Lin Yan's courage and her sister's support, she gradually wasn't afraid of Su Machin. She found that in front of the supreme imperial power, Su Machin was nothing. In order to take revenge, she had to cling to the third prince. According to the news she heard from her sister, it wouldn't be a problem for him to live another 40 years. Previously, her sister also said that the 3 concubines were expecting. In these 40 years, who knows how many younger siblings the third prince would have. 40 years later, the third prince in front of her who would soon be 30 years old would also be a white-haired old man. Perhaps he wouldn't even live until then. Tang Bai laughed a little when she thought about it. Marquis, third prince, I still have some matters to attend to, so I have to go back early today. She would be leaving in 3 days, so she had to go back and pack her luggage. While she was at it, she would go out tomorrow to buy some small gifts for her family, the villagers, and the embroidery shop. She didn't know when she would return to the capital this time, so she should bring some new things for them to see. The two didn't force Tang Bai and watched her leave. After she left, the third prince said, I think it's about time to express our feelings to her. If we can get the little prince's support, our great cause will be no problem. The third prince said with some excitement. He patted Su Machin's shoulder. Machin, it's my fortune to have your help. Helping the third prince achieve great things is what I hope for. Machin, don't worry. When I succeed, I won't forget you. The third prince's eyes were filled with ambition. With the support of the little prince, no one could be his opponent. 3 days later, Tang Gua, Tang Bai, and the group slowly left the capital before the sun rose. Lin Yan looked at Tang Bai, who didn't have any reluctance on her face, and he let out a sigh of relief. He wanted to ask, but he didn't know how. Seeing Tang Bai looking at the scenery outside and smiling happily, he didn't have the heart to disturb her. Forget it, they have already left the capital. Miss Bai doesn't seem to be interested in the third prince. What? He's gone. The third prince's eyes widened as he asked in disbelief, say that again. She really left. Replying to third prince, yes, Miss Tang Bai left early this morning. Among his subordinates, the third prince was somewhat frightened and angry. He said cautiously, this subordinate has confirmed it 3 times. The person has indeed left. The courtyard has been locked up and there are people guarding it. Just like before, no one is allowed to take a step in. Afterwards, this subordinate went to the city gates to investigate. At dawn, several carriages left. It was the little prince and the others. The peak. Chapter 1937. The third prince hammered the stone table in the pavilion hard and looked back at Su Machin. Machin, what's going on? Didn't you have a good chat before? Why did you leave without saying goodbye? He originally thought that what he did was enough to attract a woman like Tang Bai. From the other party's words, he believed that the other party had taken a fancy to him. Although Su Machin was relieved, he still looked puzzled. Why don't we send someone to ask? Then let's go and ask. However, letter after letter was sent out, there was no reply. Every time Lin Yan received a letter, he unhappily handed it to Tang Bai, saying, "It's from the third prince, do you want to see it?" "No, burn it." Then, Lin Yan happily went to burn the letter. Later, it became a letter from Su Machin. Lin Yan asked, this time it's signed by Su Machin. "Do you want to see it, Miss Ah Bai?" He was ready to burn it. Tang Bai stuck her head out of the carriage and said, "Brother Lin, I don't want to see it. In the future, if there are any letters in the capital, except for those from Sister Changxiang, second uncle, and my third brother, you don't have to give them to me. Just burn them." "Okay, I won't bother you with these next time." Lin Yan was happy. Su Machin and the third prince, who were far away in the capital, were dumbfounded. They had been scheming for almost a month and gave up many things in order to get close to Tang Bai, hoping to use Tang Bai to get the little prince's support. As long as Tang Bai became his third princess, then the relationship with the little prince would automatically be on his side. Unexpectedly, it was all in vain. He didn't understand why it was all in vain. The letters sent out didn't even have a single reply. The people sent out also didn't see Tang Bai when they came back. They also said that the guard called Lin Yan said that their Miss Ah Bai had no friends in the capital. If he went to casually ask for marriage next time, he wouldn't be polite. What did it mean to turn hostile? This was exactly what it meant to turn hostile. Although they were angry, they couldn't do anything to Tang Bai. She had always been by the little prince and little princess's side. What could they do? If they offended the little prince, not to mention Su Machin, even the third prince would really make the emperor angry. Everyone knew how much the emperor spoiled the little prince. In the eyes of the emperor, the son's life was like grass, and the younger brother was a treasure. Offending the little prince, they would never be able to rise in their lives. Tang Guo found that Tang Bai was very happy. She naturally knew why Tang Bai was happy. Who would have thought that such a gentle little girl would retaliate against Su Machin and his wife? "Sister, I didn't cause you any trouble, did I?" Tang Bai was a little uneasy, that Su Machin and the third prince both have bad intentions. "No, this is no trouble at all. With your brother-in-law here, you can just kick those two into the lake. They won't dare to do anything." Tang Bai nodded, her heart filled with joy. So, she already had the power to kick the two of them into the lake without causing any trouble. Her sister would always unintentionally reveal a lot of things to her, to let her understand that now many people can't provoke their family. Tang Bai bit her lip, deep in thought. Finally, she felt relieved. "If I go to the capital next time, little sister, I must kick them into the lake." Tang Bai held Tang Guo's arm and said with a smile, "Okay, I'll call you next time." Chapter 1938. The third prince's faction could only continue with their original plan now that they had lost the chance to get close to Gu Jusi through Tang Bai. After Tang Guo left the capital was in turmoil. Among them, the third prince and the other princes finally engaged in a cruel competition. Tang Guo lived a peaceful life in her family Tang village. She watched Lin Yan follow Tang Bai like a shadow every day. Every few days, she would hear about what was going on in the capital from Gu Ronghe. Since half a month ago, there had been a succession of princes who had made mistakes and been banished outside or placed under house arrest in their manners. Every time Gu Ronghe finished talking, He just laughed and didn't care about it at all. The situation was under his second brother's control. It didn't matter how bad the situation was. After half a year of competition, the third prince and the sixth prince were the only ones who still had a firm foothold. Both of them thought that as long as they won, the emperor would definitely make one of them the crown prince. The emperor was so old that he didn't have many years left. One day, another piece of news came from the capital. Gu Ronghe didn't smile. When he saw Tang Guo coming over, he handed the letter to her. "Sister-in-law, this has something to do with you. Take a look." Tang Guo took the letter and read the content. She understood that it was within her expectations. The competition between the third prince and the sixth prince finally involved Tang Chang. The reason was that Su Machun had obtained a very important piece of evidence from the sixth prince. Once the evidence was exposed, the sixth prince's faction would be doomed. The sixth prince sent someone to discuss with Su Machun when he was at his wit's end. He planned to win Su Machun over and get the evidence first. Then he would treat Su Machun well. Of course, Su Machun didn't agree. In the end, the sixth prince kidnapped Tang Chang. He said that as long as Su Machun handed over the evidence, he would let Su Machun's beloved woman go. Unexpectedly, Su Machun didn't seem to care about Tang Chang's life and handed over all the evidence. In the end, the sixth prince was caught, but Tang Chang was not killed. Su Machun found her and brought her back. He thought that since this woman was still alive, he could still make use of her. In any case, the other party did not know that she was not important in his heart. If he had any enemies in the future, he would use her as a weakness. He didn't know that Tang Chang had heard the conversation between him and the sixth prince. At that time, Tang Chang was not anywhere else. She was trapped under the floor of that house by a wooden box. She heard Su Machun say that a woman was nothing in front of the great cause. He even told the sixth prince that he was too naive. Did he really think that the sixth prince would care about such a woman? The sixth prince quibbled. That woman was smart and had given him so many benefits. How could he not care? Su Machun mocked her, saying that he would never fall for such a foolish woman. In his heart, there was only hatred and ambition. The reason he said all this was because if the evidence was presented, the sixth prince would definitely fall. With the sixth prince's personality, he wouldn't say such things out loud. Even if he did, no one would believe him, because Tang Chang was not important to many people. "Cousin, it's good that you understand." Tang Guo saw that in the end, Tang Chang escaped in the middle of the night to find Tang Indo, intending to take him with her. Of course, she ran into Su Machun on the way. He wanted to take her back, but at this time, Gu Juxi's men appeared to protect the father and daughter. Currently, the father and daughter were on their way back. Tang Guo told Tang Bai about this. Tang Bai was more happy than anything when she heard that Tang Chang was back. Su Machun was not worthy of anyone's sincerity. It was good that he was back. Half a month later, Tang Chang, who had lost a lot of weight, came back with Tang Indo, who had a big smile on his face. When Tang Chang saw Tang Guo and Tang Bai, she rushed out of the carriage and hugged them. Tang Guo heard Tang Chang muttering softly, "To hell with that goddamn Prince Charming. I'm not going to be a fan of Prince Charming anymore. That kind of scum is an insult to the word Prince Charming." Although Tang Chang was cursing in a low voice, Tang Guo could see the tears flowing down her cheeks. The pain and sadness in her eyes couldn't be concealed. "I want to be rich. I want to be rich. Father, let's do business together. My daughter will help you fulfill that wish." Tang Guo smiled. Tang Chang threw herself on Tang Indo and said these words quickly. "In the past, your daughter was not sensible. In the future, your daughter only wants to be rich and help father earn countless treasures. Prince Charming. To hell with that goddamn Prince Charming. To hell with him. Tang Chang looked at the white clouds floating by in the sky, her heart filled with pain. But she really liked him. She really liked him. For that love, she persevered for a long time. She kept telling herself to trust him one more time. Peek, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.